What is up? We are back. JE Live, back-to-back nights. I like this this formula. I like this formula. Should we stick to this? Should we start off with JE Live on YouTube and Kick and then move over to Kick when we're just playing some games? Is that what we should do? I think that's what we should do. That way I can balance it out more. I mean, I've streamed like, I don't know, 30 of the last 35 days on Kick. Something crazy. And I feel like I don't stream as much to YouTube. That will obviously change when the season starts. And a big reason why I think the shift here is happening is because, you know, we're getting into the season now. I mean, preseason is right around the corner. What's up, Dr. Dingus? What's up, CJ Lofton? What's up, Young and Isaac? Ruiz? Gabe? How we all doing? How's everyone doing? See, yeah, you know, it's I always enjoy doing these, and I enjoy doing, you know, just the gaming streams on Kick as well. So, and who knows what other stuff will come up throughout the year. I mean, I just looked at my email and, you know, the other day, and then Bleacher Report's like, hey, can you do 3 watch-along live streams for the Rams preseason games? And I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, I'm doing that. Talking about the Rams all the time. I mean, I guess I'm the Rams guy at this point, right? Is that my brand? I don't know. I mean, I have an NFL podcast. Really enjoy that. And I am a gamer, clearly. And I'm enjoying that. But there's always a constant there. Was just asked about something else that I won't divulge. But I digress. Anyway, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for being here again. I'm not a schedule guy. I've tried. Okay, when I schedule things, the power goes out. When I schedule things, flat tire, right? I'm not a scheduling guy. I'm a guy who does things off the cuff. Okay, and I think it's worked out well for it's worked well for me since November of 2020. It's worked well for me putting out articles when I've been told that I shouldn't post back-to-back articles because they don't do as well as far as views. That's nonsense. You just get it out there, you know? Content is content. It can be consumed at any point. But yeah, I don't even know what I'm rambling on about, but appreciate you guys being here. Be sure to hit the like button. We are keeping track of those likes. We're already at 10. We're trying to get 100 every single stream. That is the goal from here on out. And I am not going to really change that goal until maybe, you know, during the season, I might bump that up to 200. But over on YouTube, appreciate everyone over on Kick that's watching. The title is Puka Nacua might have a pretty big role for the Rams after all, or whatever the hell I put. Look, I want to talk about this because I am very transparent, at least I believe so. You know, with myself, things that I go through, I let people know. You guys were the first to know pretty much. I mean, aside from obviously my really close family, that I quit my job, and I was going to quit my job. It just got to that point. You guys were well aware of that. I did not hide that. That was 2 years ago now, I believe, almost 2 years ago. And, you know, you guys have been there when I've decided to move to Kick. I told you guys first. When I decided to join Believe, I told you guys first. Okay? So I let you guys in on a lot. And I feel like because of that, we have this connection where, I mean, I'm always going to be transparent, and, you know, this is less, I guess, important, right? It's not a life thing, but more so with my takes, okay? For every one of those Patrick Mahomes takes that I can go, like, look at me and pump out my chest and flex, I was right about Patrick Mahomes, I was right about Lamar Jackson. For every one of those takes, I have a take that is absolutely wrong, okay? I thought Josh Rosen would be a good quarterback in the NFL. That happens. Thank you so much for following. I still can't see who that is because the screen, I stretched it out so it would be bigger, and apparently I still can't read it. So thank you so much for following. Really appreciate you. Or subscribing. I think subscribing. I'm all over the place. But the point here is that I've had some awful takes. I've had some awful takes, guys. Okay? I mean, I could go down the list of takes that I've had that were terrible. I said Teddy Bridgewater and that Carolina Panthers team were going to win that division. They did not. We'll just say that. I've said all sorts of stuff, okay? I had the Rams going to the Super Bowl and repeating against the Buffalo Bills last year. Bad take. And, that's the thing. I want to be, I want to admit to that. So here's a potential bad take, okay? I want you to mull this real quick, okay? I do need to be sponsored by Snapple. You're 100% right, Dominic. 100% right. If I had Snapple the rest of my life, man, I don't know what else I would need. But anyway, back to that. I had a question, comment, concern, something from one of you guys. I forget exactly who it was. I think multiple people have said it. Hey, Jake, how many reps, how many receptions, how much of Puka Nacua am I going to see? This 5th rounder out of BYU, how much am I going to see this year out of him in a Rams uniform his rookie year? And I got on here and I said, you know what? He'd be lucky if he got 10 catches this year. I don't see him getting 10 catches. I think it was 20. The point is, that might have been a bad take. And I'm going to own it right now. Okay, I might end up being right, but I don't know. Because from what I'm not at the camp, okay? Please understand, I live in upstate New York. I do not live in LA. I'm not at Rams camp. This is just from what I've seen. And I saw a tweet the other day. Someone was asking Jordan Rodriguez where she saw the Rams wide receivers. I thought it was really fascinating. So she listed them in a tweet, and it was Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, and it was not Demarcus Robinson. It was not Tyler Johnson. It was not Ben Skoranek or Lance McCutcheon. It was the rookie 5th round pick at a BYU, who I said would be lucky to get 20 receptions this season, Puka Nacua at number 4. Now, she did also follow that by saying it can change. Of course it can change. But that is good stuff to hear. And Sean McVay is not really known for throwing guys into the fire. So it wasn't that I disliked Puka Nacua. Okay, I liked the guy. I mean, you could go back when I was talking about Jaron Hall in some of those live streams during the draft season. I was like, this Puka Nacua guy is all over the place. And he has such a great, awareness level to keep his feet in bounds near the sideline. He can help you in bubble screens. I mean, he's kind of like, he's not really filled out like him, but he's kind of like a poor man's Debo in that he could be used kind of different ways. I would say he might actually be a better route runner already. But here's the point. Okay, the point I'm making is that Puka Nacua, if he is the 4th guy, according to Jordan, if that's how she feels right now, if he's the 4th guy, then I'm going to be wrong. Because the 4th wide receiver is going to get playing time. He's going to have more than 20 catches. And I got news for you. I'm pretty excited about that. Now, I understand some will say, oh, well, Demarcus Robinson, that means he's not doing well. He's having a great camp. Everything I keep reading, he's having a great camp. What about Ben Skoranek? They like Skoranek. He's not going anywhere. What about Tyler Johnson? He's having a good camp. So I don't want to read too much into the camp nonsense because we could go all day about this guy looks really thick, this guy looks good, this guy's fast, this guy's confident. I don't want to get into all that because that's just, I don't cover that, as you guys know. I don't do the nitty gritty stuff on this YouTube channel unless it is regarding game film, which I can no longer do because I'll get copyright struck. And by the way, I just found out the other day, if you get copyright struck, you can't post videos for a week. So when this is your full-time job and everything, like pretty much most of your life is revolving around it, you can't afford to miss an entire week. I can tell you that much. But pretty much the only deep dives that I do are in regards to watching film, right? When we do those film breakdowns. I know we haven't done one in a while, but that's why. So that's that. But what I'll say is this, okay? I think that there are some good things to take away from Puka Nacua already being looked at as that guy. He's getting first team reps. This is real, folks. if you're one of those people that waved your hat, your flag, whatever, for Puka Nacua, saying this guy was different, he was going to make an impact early on, well, you might be right. You might have been right all along. Okay? I'm going to get to the comments. I'll read your comments as usual. I'll answer questions. But as you know, all JE Lives have to start somewhere, and they all start with an opening statement, essentially. But yeah, I gotta tell you, I'm a little excited about this. I'm not gonna lie. One thing I'm really excited about that I have to throw out there, because I don't care who likes it, I'm a big fan of Tutu Atwell, and hearing that he's number 3, that's exactly where I expected him to be. That gets me excited. And I think Tutu Atwell is going to be a problem. He's really going to make it. It's going to be a hard time for defenses to stop Tutu Atwell's speed, while also trying to cover Cooper Kupp, while also trying to cover, Van Jefferson's speed. You have 2 guys flanking, right? And then you have, Cooper Kupp that can play all over the field. You got Tyler Higbee, who will go up and high point the football. Don't be surprised if this offense turns some heads. I mean, it won't be shocking me. This offense won't be shocking me unless it is top 3, okay? That's the only way it's going to shock me. So, I'll say that. But I did want to start off with being real with you guys and understanding, like, look, I didn't think Puka Nacua, and he hasn't done anything yet. I'm well aware of that. But just hearing where he is on that depth chart, I did not expect that. So for those of you that did, those of you that were pounding the stump for that, well, you could celebrate right now a little bit. And you should be excited, because that is a big deal. What's up, Jeremiah? Remember the offense was incredibly bad the year before McVay arrived? Oh, yeah. Can't forget about the high school offense. All right, let's go back with some comments here. What's up, Cam G? How we doing? Seems like this season is taking forever to get here. Dominic, I'm with you there. Definitely with you. Training camp showing Rams roster is pretty. It's pretty, huh? Is that what it is, Jim Everett the Great? I think you got cut off. Offense is looking amazing. Impatient for football. Peter, I'm with you there. I knew as soon as they drafted him, he was going to be a big timer, says Raymond. Stetson has been lighting it up. I've been seeing some good things about Stetson. Little sloppy, I saw McVay said, was a little sloppy, the little nuanced things that you need to have to run an offense, like huddles and stuff, but he's a rookie, makes sense. But just his ability to play within structure and outside of structure is definitely something that the Rams can feel good about. It's similar to Matthew Stafford. Does Stetson Bennett have to go off as a running quarterback? No, but if he could play similar to the vest as Matthew Stafford, who can escape the pocket, make things happen, outside of structure, then that's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. Perfect compliment to Kupp. What's up, chat? What's up, Dr. Dingus? How we doing? Stetson Bennett, best quarterback in the draft, says Jim Everett the Great. That's saying something. People sleeping on Stetson's mobility and arm strength too. Says Michael King. How you doing, Michael? What's up, Rams fan for life? How we doing? Jim Everett the Great. Stetson Bennett looking like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I haven't seen him, so I can't say. Raymond, I saw some teams, fans were pissed that the Rams stole Bennett from under them. I agree with you. I think there were a lot of teams, and, he's the butt of a joke, right? Because people are like, oh, he's 28 and playing college. I've heard it all. I understand, okay? But I think there are a lot of teams and their fans that low-key were like, damn, the Rams got him? Him with Sean McVay? I don't really like that, And not necessarily I don't really like that as in he will be bad for the Rams. If you're not a Rams fan or you're not part of the Rams organization, then I don't really like that stands for, oh, that could be a problem. And I think, and I'm not going to make any crazy, I'm not going to proclaim that he is the next big thing or anything like that. But it is intriguing nonetheless to see his confidence rising, the boost there, just what everybody's talking about, what everyone's, saying. he basically ran practice today because Stafford was out. It was predetermined he was going to get an off day, and so was Van Jefferson. So, that's good. I'm really excited for preseason, guys. I can tell you right now, very excited. This is the last day in July, and then we're heading into August. August is Rams football. It's back. It may not be the Rams football you're used to, but preseason nonetheless. You're going to see those Rams uniforms trotting all over the field and everything. I'm all for it, and I'll be doing, in case you missed it, I'll be doing 3 watch-along live streams on Bleacher Report. I'll get you the links when I have them, but I'm very excited to be doing that during both of those games, or all 3 of those games. All right, let's catch up on the comments here. Let's see here. We had... I'm sorry, the Dominic one I have to rehash. That was so funny. You need to be sponsored by Snapple. I would absolutely love to be sponsored by Snapple at this point. You can't believe the Rams walked into that. Yeah, that was he fell right in their arms. Rams trade Jefferson to Carolina for Burns and a few picks so he can be coached by his dad. All right, so CJ, you mentioned this to me on Instagram, like this idea. I'm going to be very honest with you. Brian Burns is not going anywhere. He is going to probably sign long-term with the Carolina Panthers. They have good coaching there all over the place now. It's a new regime. They love him. They respect him. They appreciate him. He's not an option. And I don't think Van Jefferson and some picks would move the needle. Like, we're talking, they offered almost, I think it was 2 first-rounders and a second-rounder is what I was told. So, I mean, they went after him hard. If they weren't going to get that, then Van Jefferson isn't going to move the needle in that trade. Stetson Bennett better than Purdy, Lance, and Darnold? We'll see. We'll see. What's up, Exotic? How you doing? Van Jefferson is important. I agree with you. I think the thing that kind of gets left behind with Van is his ability to be a flanker. That speed, he can really take the top off the defense. He can be a problem on the boundary. He can play in the slot. He's interchangeable in that way, but that speed, 4.3 or whatever he ran, he was the fastest time wide receiver in that zebra over at, when he was at the Senior Bowl. And, I mean, he looked it. When I watched, I had a chance. I was at that Senior Bowl, and I saw him in Mobile, Alabama, and Van is fast. He's got legit speed. It's not just he looks fast on TV, like he's fast in person. And so that's really going to help. And you could have speed, but do you have acceleration? Do you have burst? And I think he has all of that where he can get off, on a dime, he can just kind of go off, and that helps. And then you have him and you have Atwell working together, complementing the rest of the offense, and you're in good shape. Ben Skoranek, I think he's going to revert more to that tight end, wide receiver, fullback, wild card role, which I think is best for him. Eric, how's it going? Shocker that Sony Michel retired. So, basically what I read is that his body kind of gave up on him, which is really a shame. And the Rams going out and getting Royce Freeman tells me that they didn't want somebody to go in to battle Cam Akers for the starting job. The starting job is Cam's. This basically reinforces that mindset. And then it also reinforces that Kyron Williams is number 2 on the depth chart at running back, and he's going to fill more of a third role, which is where I think Sony Michel is going. I think there's a lot of people that would look at Sony Michel and the last time they saw him in LA, and they're like, well, this guy had 800 yards and, had 200 carries and whatever. That's not the same Sony Michel that the Rams acquired this offseason in free agency. He has gone downhill. That was the biggest concern about the knee, because I kept saying he has kind of that same Todd Gurley knee injury or knee condition, if you will, the arthritic knee. And sure enough, it did catch up with him. I don't know if that's exactly what we meant by body failing him, but also being a running back, you get hit a lot. So, it was a good career, but I think it was smart to go out and get somebody that can diversify your room without pissing anybody off, without disrupting the culture, disrupting the momentum, disrupting the rhythm, the mojo, whatever you want to call it, And so I think that was smart for them to go out and get a guy like Royce Freeman who could help you in pass pro. Not going to really help you much in the receiving game, so that'll be Kyron Williams and Cam Akers doing, and Ronnie Rivers if he makes the team, as well as Zach Evans. But I think when you look at a guy like Royce Freeman, you're looking at short yardage situations, you're looking at pass pro, and that's what you're looking at, exactly what you were looking at, with Sony Michel. So that's I thought that was an easy transition there. Paku season, baby. Let's see. What if they use Sko as a fullback and use Puka as a Debo role? I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that. Puka can come in on third down. You have him, lined up in the bubble screen type of formation. I could see that, Am Rams fan, how we doing? Yeah, stay relatively healthy this year. I hear you. I definitely hear you. Health is everything. I mean, the Rams, hell, they could win the Super Bowl. I mean, that's pretty much, like, that's the thing people don't understand. No one thought the greatest show on turf, Rams, were going to win the Super Bowl when Trent Green went down. Okay, when Trent Green went down, they went to a quarterback who had been cut from the Green Bay Packers almost like instantaneously, with Brett Favre and co. And so the Rams pick him up, and he was on the team the previous year, didn't really get to play much. So they weren't really expecting anything. I mean, just think about like the Kurt Warner instance and think about it today. If you relate it today, if Stafford goes down and say, last year you have John Wolford, you have Bryce Perkins, were you at any point like Super Bowl? No. And so that's what is so crazy about that season. But it goes to show you, while that is very rare, it has happened, because everyone and their mother thought the Rams were building something special with Trent Green. Green goes down, and it's like, oh, it's the season's over, And so that's the fascinating thing, is that really health is everything. If the Rams stay healthy, who the hell knows how good they can be? Keep in mind, my 10-11 win prediction is just a freaking prediction. If they want to win 14, 15 games, by all means, they can do that. I'm not, I don't have an ego to the point where I need to get my prediction right. They could be better than I have it, or they can end up being worse. I mean, that's certainly possible too. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of funny. We kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit. Like, oh, well, the over-under is 6.5 wins. And it's like, man, they're not trying to win 7 games. They're trying to make the playoffs. They're trying to go to the Super Bowl. If you don't think every team in the NFL isn't trying to win the Super Bowl with what they have, then you don't understand what's going on, okay? The players themselves suit up every Sunday to win it all. That's their goal. Until they're eliminated from the playoffs, that is their goal. They want to win every single game. So, therefore, if the goal is to win every single game, it's also to win the Super Bowl. Now, you have to be careful, because what the common misconception is that, just because a GM is rebuilding, oh, we're in a rebuilding year, you have to understand that is a term general managers and bigwigs at the top use, okay? No player gives a shit about tanking, about a rebuilding year. They're going out, their job is on the line, they're putting their life on the line, they're risking everything to win a football game. They do not care about tanking. They do not care about those things, because guess what? Mr. Veteran, who's on a $9 million one-year deal, could care less how this team looks next year if he's already decided, I'm leaving, I'm going to the highest bidder, and I don't feel like I'm at home in this organization. But it doesn't mean he's going to play any less than what he's playing. He's going to go and try to win every single game, because that is how these players are wired. They want to win every game. Every single player I've talked to that is moved away from the game in some capacity, retirement, etc., they have all said the same thing, okay? No NFL player is putting their neck, their body, everything on the line, because you could tear your ACL or you could have a serious injury like DeMar Hamlin had, okay? Nobody is putting their life on the line and then basically being like, we're in a rebuilding year. That does not happen. These players are not wired like that. So that's why it's kind of ridiculous how, like, again, we get lost in the sauce where it's like, oh, the GM said like they're rebuilding, so everybody else is on that same page. No, because the coach still has to coach or he doesn't have a job. The players still have to play or they'll be replaced by guys that will. It's not as simple as that. It's easy for the bigwigs to say something like that, but at the end of the day, that's their name of the game. That's part of what they're in. That is their industry. That's a completely different thing. And so that's why, like, oh, the Rams, they're in a rebuilding year. They're not even trying to win. You want to say that to Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, and Cooper Kupp's face? That they're not trying to win? I'm sorry, I saw a clip today. I'm not trying to make a big deal about camp clips, but if Cooper Kupp didn't care about winning, why is he making a diving, sliding grab in the back of the end zone in practice with Stafford not participating today? Why would he care? Wouldn't he just not put his body on the ground? Wouldn't you do your best to not fall? He cares. If you practice the way you play, it's going to translate. So these guys are putting it all on the line every day in practice. And I think it's really despicable. It's a disgrace. And it's really it's disrespectful to guys like, you know, Joe Burrow, who got hurt. Obviously, he'll be back. It looks like he's going to be fine. He gets hurt. Jalen Ramsey gets hurt. So he's out almost the entire season. He won't be back until like December. And that's a good scenario. He might miss the whole season. In addition to that, how about Tim Patrick today? Awful. The guy just tore his ACL last year. He worked his ass off to get back to where he is now. And now he tears his Achilles, it sounds like. But yes, they don't care. The Broncos, they don't care. The Rams, they don't care. No, I'm telling you, every single player cares. Every single player cares. Some may care more than others. Some may be Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp that are getting in early in the morning, beating everybody else onto that field or in the weight room. But they all care. That's the way it is. You may not care a ton about your job, like to the point where you would sacrifice your life for it, but you care enough to go. You care enough to work. It's the same thing. All right. So that was a little bit of a rant there. I don't even know how that even happened, but that's JE Live for you. I don't even know where we left off. Let's see. Van Jefferson is a big key. Yes, hit the like for me. Really appreciate that, KMG. We're at 98 people in here. Yep, we're back. We're back. I love it. Puka, I'm interested in what he has for us this year. Many hyped him up. Hope that doesn't burn us as a Rams fan. We'll see. Jack says Puka is a beast. Let's see. Oh, we going to turn some heads, says Sean. Fernando, how's it going? Let's go. I kind of wish we could get Hunt. He's a sleeper. What do you think, Jake? I'm surprised Kareem Hunt hasn't been picked up yet because, and I'm not trying to make this like a controversial statement, but I still think a big reason why Kareem Hunt is available is because of his past. I still think it's a leap for teams to do that. You still have fans that are not okay with that. I think his past could be hurting him. I still think he's going to get signed. But, I mean, the Browns got blowback for signing him in the first place. Like the Chiefs, he never played another down after that for the Chiefs. So I think that's something to keep in mind. But as a player, you know, and I do believe in second chances, as a player, Kareem Hunt should be on an NFL roster right now. He is that good. He is a starting caliber running back who just so happened to be behind a top 3 running back in the NFL in Nick Chubb. He is definitely a difference maker and can help you out. So we'll see like where he goes, but yeah, I'm surprised he's not on a team right now. What's up, Mr. Italiano? Alex, how we doing? Double X Alex. Jake makes opening statement. Jake answers responses. Jake loses place in chat response. Jake already answered that. Jake goes on JE rant. where we repeat the cycle later, folks. You already know. It's funny. It's not by design. It just happens. Running backs have the shortest shelf life of any NFL position, and it's not even close to any other position. I agree with that. Rams fan. It's not even close. Not even close. Players aren't okay with losing, says Jeremiah Rivera. I totally agree with you. I do not believe players for second are okay with losing. I just don't believe it. Let's see here. Rams look good today. You were at camp. All right, I'll take your word for it, Jack. What will be our O-line rank compared to the league at the end of the season? I think they'll be in the top 15. I think they have enough talent where if they stay healthy, they could move into the top 10. I think people are grossly underrating how good Rob Havenstein is, how much of a model of consistency. There's a Jakeism. But not just that, but like how, he's just rock solid. His highs and his lows, like he maintains a solid pace. And he did it with all sorts of guys starting next to him last year. So if he gets any sort of semblance of consistency starting next to him, then he'll be totally fine. But Havenstein, I think as long as, Alaric Jackson is able to stay healthy, he had the blood clot, totally out of his control. But as long as that, he's able to stay away from anything like that, he's a really good left tackle, doesn't get enough credit, certainly not from Madden. They gave him like a 66. God, I'm boycotting that game. Anyway, so Alaric Jackson at left tackle. You got Rob Havenstein at right. We don't know necessarily what ends up happening with Steve Avila, the second-round pick. We don't know if he ends up starting at center down the road or guard. I'm going to say he starts at guard. I'm also going to say I think Tremaine Ankrum is going to start at guard, and I think it's really between Brian Allen and Coleman Shelton at center. And maybe down the road, Avila will go back to his natural center position, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen this year. And so with that said, I think people are grossly underestimating this offensive line. The issue has always been health. If they stay healthy, I think they're going to be fine. People have not watched Alaric Jackson. People in here have. In general, though, the general sports fan does not know the Rams left tackle like they know Trent Williams, okay? They do not know him like they know Tyron Smith of the Dallas Cowboys. They don't know him like they know Jordan Mailata now, who's becoming a household name, and guys like that. So that's the thing. And I can't stress this enough. I've typed this phrase out multiple times on Twitter because it just continues to be relevant. It's probably the most relevant phrase in regards to this football team. Are you ready for this? You've probably heard me say it before. Unproven does not mean bad. There it is. There's the phrase. That is our mantra the rest of the season. Unproven does not mean bad, okay? Just because you have an unproven secondary, unproven offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, defensive line, I've already said it, linebackers, coaches, fans, doesn't mean they're bad. And so that is a really important thing to distinguish because a lot of people think unproven just means that it's bad, okay? We don't know who these guys are. It's bad. You have way too many analysts out there that are like, I don't know who so-and-so is. That means they're bad. No, it just means you don't know who they are and they haven't been tested enough for you to actually know. Or they have and you just haven't been paying attention, which is actually where I go in my next part of this little, excursion. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm warning you, the Rams are going to find out very quickly who can play football on this team and who can't. Very quickly. And luckily, they'll probably find out before the regular season comes. But the point is, they're going to find out who should be suited up on Sundays, who should be on the field starting on the defense, and who should not. Okay? They're going to figure that out. The rest of the world, outside of Rams fans and the Rams, probably aren't going to be watching Rams football this season. They're on 2 primetime games this year. 2. Okay? Just be aware that there's going to be some ignorant people that don't know about this team, that don't watch this team. So when Jacoby Durant is one of the best corners in the league this year, when he's, dominating in the star role, people are going to be like not knowing who he is And I'm just letting you know ahead of time, it's a waste of breath to go at those people and argue with them because they're not watching. This team is not expected to be good. People don't watch teams that are not expected to be good. They don't go out of their way. But the Rams are going to make people watch. And as long as they stay healthy, they'll be watching this team in January and maybe even in February, depending on how the season goes. I won't say February definitely, but I think late into January, they could make a run. Again, Matthew Stafford and the coach actually matters. You know, I was thinking about the other day, and I mean, don't get me wrong, managers do matter in baseball. NBA coaches definitely matter to a degree. Hockey coaches, they matter, right? But is there a sport that, like, coaching matters more than football? I don't think there is, okay? I don't think there is. There is not a sport where coaches, you know, head coaches, defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, quarterback coaches, running back coaches, you know, passing game coordinators, run game coordinators, offensive line coaches. I don't think there's a sport that compares to the NFL and football in regards to coaching. Coaching matters, man. I mean, no offense to you Dodgers fans, Dave Roberts is not a Hall of Fame manager by any stretch. I'm sure a lot of you know that. He's not. Okay? There are not a lot of Hall of Fame managers. As a matter of fact, I don't think there are a lot of good managers in baseball, period. Who's a good manager? Hyde in Baltimore? I'll give you that. Look at what he's done. Guys that raise, they elevate everybody else, those are good managers. But you don't have a ton of them in baseball. There's also a lot more spending. In hockey, you get some good guys that can make some good decisions, but I mean, there's not a ton of great hockey coaches, managers, whatever you want to call them. Then you look at basketball and you're like, well, I mean, David Blatt almost won an NBA title. I'm like, you know, so here's the thing, okay? NFL coaching matters. Why do I bring it up? Because the Rams just so happen to have a top 5 coach in the NFL in Sean McVay. And maybe top 3. He still has his faults. He still has his quirks. But that guy, and that was another one I was right about. Sean McVay was my handpicked guy. I'll take credit. Hey, earlier I started this show kind of shitting on myself. I'll take credit for Sean McVay. Thank you very much. The OG fans from Facebook know. But anyway, point stands. Sean McVay didn't go anywhere. So when people are constantly crapping all over the Rams saying they're not going to do anything, it's not like they lost Sean McVay. You know? I mean, it's not like they have the equivalent head coach to Aaron Boone as a manager with the Yankees. Sean McVay has his moments where maybe the red zone play calling could be better. Maybe he forgets to run the ball. Maybe he doesn't run the ball enough. Maybe he doesn't balance the offense. Okay, that's fair. Those are fair criticisms. But Sean McVay has some success that not many coaches in the history of the league have. He's still the youngest coach in the NFL. He's already been in 2 Super Bowls. He's won one of them. You could say it's because of F them picks. I would say, well, it's really impressive that he brought 2 different quarterbacks to the Super Bowl. Now, the haters would say 2 different quarterbacks took Sean McVay to the Super Bowl. Now, I love Matthew Stafford, but I'll diss Matthew Stafford really quickly here to give my argument for McVay. Matthew Stafford never won a playoff game until he had Sean McVay. Now, I love Matthew Stafford, and I think it has more to do with Detroit, obviously, but that helps Sean McVay. Jared Goff hasn't played in the playoffs since he left Sean McVay. You know, so, I mean, Sean McVay is given a lot of credit. I'm not trying to say he's not, although I will say, weirdly, Kyle Shanahan gets more credit than Sean McVay. I don't really know why. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's that guy that, like, you know, he tries really, really hard when they meet in a regular season game. And obviously, if they played at that level every game, then they would have already won a Super Bowl by now. And it wouldn't have been since the 90s. But, you know, he went to a Super Bowl and he lost. He's older than Sean. And I don't know. I mean, it's just like, That's my thought process anyway. You know, it's like Kyle Shanahan could do no wrong. If not to make this about Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay, but I just want to point this out. Kyle Shanahan right now and the 49ers don't even know who their starting quarterback's going to be. It looks like it's going to be Brock Purdy. I think they're rolling with Brock Purdy, and they're just hoping he doesn't fall flat on his face, and then they're going to go with Sam Darnold. And yes, that means that they traded up. They gave up multiple picks, all that capital, to get who I think was the best quarterback in that draft. Yes, higher than Trevor Lawrence at the time, Trey Lance. And that means they traded all those assets to basically fail to develop Trey Lance. Now, let's talk about this real quick, okay? And then I'll get back into the comments. If Sean McVay, okay, had John Wolford, Bryce Perkins, and let's just say Trey Lance, okay? John Wolford, Bryce Perkins, and Trey Lance. I mean, first off, John Lynch isn't even getting any sort of, he's not getting any blowback for that. They still don't have a franchise quarterback. But anyway, if Sean McVay was in the same position as Kyle Shanahan, do you really think, do you honestly believe that he would be getting the same or even less criticism than Kyle Shanahan is getting right now? It is astounding. Sean McVay got more criticism with Jared Goff. Sean McVay got more criticism for Jared Goff leaving, the way he handled the Jared Goff trade, than Kyle Shanahan has got for failing to develop the number 3 overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft. What? Not to mention, the Jimmy Garoppolo thing was awful. I understand the guy can't stay healthy, but all he did was win for you. He fit your system. It never felt like it was a good thing there. Nothing about that ever felt good. Like, when is that going to eventually be thrown back in Kyle Shanahan's face? Because I could tell you right now, if Sean McVay, if the roles were reversed and Sean McVay was going through what Kyle Shanahan's going through, and he's running 4 quarterbacks all sharing time in 11 on 11, he'd get roasted. He would get obliterated. It's not like, I don't want to hear it. Sean McVay gets roasted, and he's been in 2 Super Bowls, and he's won one at age 37. He's still the youngest coach in the NFL, has all that success. He's still getting roasted. He was getting roasted for taking too long to decide if he was going to retire or not. People were literally trying to say he was going to retire because he can't handle it. But there's nothing, in regards to Kyle Shanahan, there's nothing about that. Like, I'm sorry, if they don't win a Super Bowl this year, they trot out Brock Purdy. He falls flat on his face. They trot out Sam Darnold. He does okay. And Trey Lance does nothing, as in they don't even use him. And the 49ers don't win a Super Bowl with that defense. Something has to change there, right? Like, eventually you have to hold this guy accountable. I think, like, Kyle Shanahan's a great play designer. I don't know how much of how great of a head coach he is. The guy's had great defenses to work with, and he's not a defensive guy. He's had Saleh. He's had, well, he just lost him, but he had DeMeco Ryans. And now he has Steve Wilkes. So I'm just saying, we'll leave it at that, but you all know damn well if the roles were reversed, Sean McVay would be getting obliterated by the media. It would be happening. Wow, we have 120 people in here. Appreciate y'all. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like the Rams, you like content, you like me, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, the thumbs up button. Our goal is to hit 100 thumbs up / likes every single time we stream. Every single time we stream on YouTube. Obviously, you can't like anything on Kick. But, yeah, that's our goal. We got 56 now, so we're beyond halfway there. So love that. These streams are lit. They are. They're lit right now. Let's see. BT Productions. All right, let's catch up on these comments. BT Productions. I think Tyler Johnson has been slept on by everyone. I was at Saturday's practice, and Tyler Johnson / DeMarcus had themselves a day. Wouldn't be shocked if they have a surprising role. I agree. I think the Rams have more talent in that wide receiver room than people even realize. It's because there's no big names. It's because they passed on DeAndre Hopkins. They didn't go out and make a big trade. They didn't get OBJ. So people are going to hold them, accountable for that. But I'm with you. And I said this. Well, how can Demarcus Robinson have a better year with Matthew Stafford than Patrick Mahomes? Well, it's very easy because it's actually very possible when you think about it. Remember the unproven thing I said? As much as I love Tutu Atwell, unproven. We don't know what Tutu Atwell is. We have an idea of what he can be, but we don't know fully what he is. We know Cooper Kupp is a superstar. That's what we know. Van Jefferson, we have a good idea of what he is, but we still don't know truly what he can be. With Demarcus Robinson, he played alongside Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. When was that guy going to get the ball? He wasn't. Then he goes to the Ravens, and they actually used him a little bit. He caught a postseason touchdown. Demarcus Robinson can play. And now, you have Tyler Johnson. Tyler Johnson was catching passes from Tom Brady in the playoffs. I mean, you have what everyone would call the GOAT throwing him the ball in the most important time of the game. Do you remember that kind of low-key BS, if we're not, capping here? Low-key BS pass interference call. I think it was on Kevin King in the NFC title game. Well, say what you will, but Tyler Johnson drew that penalty. That sent the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. So this guy has been counted on in big situations. Wouldn't be surprised. BT, I like where your mind's at. Dominic, it would be dope if Puka exploded and won Offensive Rookie of the Year. That would be pretty cool. What's up, Devo? How you doing? Sean J, how we doing? How about the defense? Unproven. We'll see what ends up happening. We will see. I think they'll be fine. I don't think they're going to be amazing, but I think the Rams found something that most teams haven't figured out yet, is that their defense, like their scheme, that Vic Fangio-rooted defense, the soft zone, cover 3, shell coverage, all that. I think that defense, they found that it can kind of hide the deficiencies of other players. And when they first got a whiff of that, it was when those injuries came to be last year. When they didn't have Aaron Donald and they were still playing decently on the defensive side of the football. That's my thing. Let's see. We need the O-line to be 10 times better than last year, or no matter what, we will repeat a bad season. I think by the O-line being healthy, that makes them 10 times better than last year. That's what I think. He's 25, not 28. I checked. LOL. You almost had me there with that one. Yeah, Eric. No, I know he's only 25. 28 is the number that's always thrown around. I don't know why. It just is with Stetson Bennett. I'm always told he's 28, or it's either 28 or 44. I don't know why. And when people make a joke and it's not really that funny, and you're like, oh, that's funny, like you're like mocking them. That's how I feel. Like, oh, I've never heard Stetson Bennett being 44 before. Never heard that. It's about as old as the Perry Ellis jokes as a Kansas Jayhawk fan that I had to endure his entire career there. Because everyone's like, Perry Ellis looks like he's a dinosaur. I was like, I know he looks older than a college kid. Please, you've been saying this for 4 years. Like, his appearance isn't changing. He might leave soon, but his appearance ain't changing. So, I could see. Dan, what's up? How we doing over on Kick? Appreciate you. Dan, fun fact, last night, typed out in his chat over on Kick. We were streaming. We had an 11-hour stream. So when we finished the stream on YouTube, we streamed for like 9 more hours on Kick. I don't know why. I've been in a rhythm and I really enjoy streaming. Dan goes, I'm not even sure at this point Jake is human. It cracked me up. Like, Dan thinks I'm some like mech. I'm just AI at this point. I'm not even real. Yeah, I shouldn't joke about that. That's probably going to be the case. Dr. Dingus, I could see Puka's numbers being similar to Skoranic's first year, maybe 20, 25 targets, 15 to 20 receptions for about 150 to 200 yards, possibly 1 touchdown. I would be right about him if that was the case. Travius has been getting a lot of reps in training camp. I like that. That intrigues me. Those of you who don't know who Freeman is, Royce Freeman from the Denver Broncos. I thought he'd be interested in Tyon Evans. He was very young and hungry. Yeah, they let Tyon Evans go. So, I don't know. Told you Puka was looking good when went to camp on Saturday. Dude's huge. Yes, you did mention that, Jordan. I do remember that comment. Not Rams related, but I feel for Ramsey. Oh, I do too. I feel for him as well. I hate injuries, man. Man, can we cancel injuries? Like, who are the football gods that are allowing the injuries? Like, can we stop this? Like, it wasn't bad enough Tim Patrick had to suffer a torn ACL last year. Now he has to tear his Achilles. Like, can we cut it out? Can I turn injuries off? Like, can we please stop with the injuries are so brutal, man. It is so sad to see somebody who worked their tail off all off season, are in the gym constantly, getting prepared, and then they just step weird. But because they're so freakishly athletic, because I get this a lot. Jake, why is it that players are so athletically gifted? They're so fit, right? They're so built. They have a great training regimen. How do they get hurt so much? This is what I'll say, okay? You might not realize this, but the body is not supposed to move like the way these wide receivers do and stop on a dime the way these receivers do. That is not a natural movement. You're not supposed to stop on a dime like that. Like, this agility, these guys are otherworldly. It's the same thing. Did you know, like, this thing, you know, the overhand throw, like a pitcher, that's not natural. That's why these guys have to get Tommy John. That's why these guys are constantly having arm issues. Obviously, don't get me wrong, the motion, the mechanics and all that can hurt. And you can get hurt by not having good conditioning and not keeping yourself fit. That's true. But I was asked the question, like, why do these top-notch, like, athletes, why do they get hurt so much? That's why. They're doing otherworldly things that you and I wouldn't be doing. You're only doing if you're playing a sport. Like, even if you're getting chased by a mass murderer, right? You don't have to stop on a dime and run routes. That's the only time you and I would need to run like that. Unless you're playing a sport. Is if somebody's chasing you. But to, like, stop on a dime and do that whole hezzy and everything, no. So, that's the thing. Is that it's not natural. Like, sports, really, like, athleticism is not really natural. Like, it's you're doing all, like, that's why. And it sucks, and that's the risk you run, because the body is not meant to running a 4.2 40-yard dash and then immediately plant your foot in the ground and then turn around, like, on a dime. Your body is not meant to do that. You push it to do that, but clearly, the body can't just hold up. It eventually gives out. Some guys never get hurt. Some guys do. And it sucks to see, like, one false step. One little step. Like, I took multiple steps today. Like, I almost tripped over something earlier. It's just that one step that can be the difference maker when you're on a practice field playing at that high intensity. That sucks. The non-contact are the scariest. It sounds weird when you're a kid, you're young, and you hear a non-contact injury, you're like, wait, doesn't the contact make it so, like, obviously this is little kid brain working, but yeah, doesn't the contact make it more likely to get hurt? Because you're thinking about, if my brother were to punch me in the back, right, it's going to hurt because he punched me more than it's going to hurt if I just fell on my own. But no, the non-contact is almost always the worst, because the reason you went down is something didn't vibe. Your ACL got detached. Something didn't. It's a signal your body's sending to you. So it sucks. And I'm if you can't tell, I'm still really upset about the Tim Patrick injury, and I'm wishing him the best. One of those guys that kind of came out of nowhere, was really starting to make a name for himself, and then an ACL tear last year, an Achilles tear this year, and there's going to be more where that came from. And this is why, as much as I like camp, as much as I like preseason, I do like this period. I think it's so fascinating, and there's nothing like it out there. Spring training is nowhere near as good as NFL training camp and like preseason cutdowns. NBA, no one even follows that really. When you talk about the off season, you're just like, all right, who's on the active roster? We'll see those guys some other time. And then hockey, it's the same thing. So there's nothing that beats NFL training camp preseason season. And so that's why, it's exciting and it's grinding, and you get hard knocks and things like that to kind of encapsulate what it really is. At the same time, though, it's inevitable, okay, that there's going to be a serious injury that alters the season in some way. And if it's not serious, the fact that there is an injury, the fact that somebody put all that effort into something and they got hurt, is already it's disappointing and depressing in itself. So, yeah. Again, another rant, but that's what I'll say. Tyon Davis forcing a fumble today. I saw that on Zach Evans. He did have fumble issues in college. I will throw that out there. Are you surprised Hendo still a free agent? How surprised are you? I am, it's hard to say. What I think that goes it's kind of left on people is that this running back class in this draft was very deep. Okay, it's probably one of the deepest I've scouted. And I did say coming into it, it was going to be harder to get those guys. And it's going to be harder for those guys to get, contracts. And I think that's just it's a product of that. I have no doubt if Henderson joined a team tomorrow, he could be a starter if they need him to. He could do all the little things extremely well. If they used him in the passing game, it would work out. His biggest issue has always been, durability, staying healthy. That's really it. But yeah, good question. Georgia running back, man, sun in the water. I'm excited for Young and Tomlinson. I'm very excited for both of them. Hendo and Tavon Austin actually got signed to XFL teams. That's interesting. I don't know if Hendo ever plays for the XFL, but I think it's probably just a backup. Running back market is down. Yeah, it definitely is. Is Witherspoon hurt? So Witherspoon has pins in his fingers, I believe, but he was playing with a club, but apparently he played pretty well today in practice, so not badly. He's already practicing. Out of the positions, I'm most excited for our D-line with Mr. Miyagi, Donald nurturing. Let's see. O-line, if the line, I can't even talk. If the O-line holds up, we should be fine. Okay, I agree with that. There's been a lot of praise. Kobe Turner. And I just lost my place. Yay. It just refreshed. Oh, there it is. There's been a lot of praise for Kobe Turner by coaches and AD. Excited for the Rook. I'm with you. Man, I'm excited to see Kobe Turner play. Our 2s and 3s were pretty dominant in preseason last year on defense. Rams probably felt it was time for them to be the ones. That's true. Remember to like the stream, my guys. Appreciate you, Roy. Yes, if you haven't already, our goal is to always hit 100 likes on the live stream. So we're at 68. Very close to 100. If you haven't already, just hit that like. It's absolutely free of charge. It doesn't cost you a dime. and it does help out the channel. It gets this out there. YouTube pushes it more, so really do appreciate you guys for doing that. Let's see. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Constantly putting out content like this. We'll be streaming all the time, all that. I saw Zach Moss broke his arm for Indy. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough, yeah. The Colts are down to Jake Funk, Evan Hull, Deion Jackson. So I think they're gonna sign a running back soon, I'd imagine. Who we thinking, Yeast or Lake opposite Fuller? I wouldn't rule out Jason Taylor the second. It seems like he's been getting some reps with the ones. I saw him covering what's his face, Tyler Higbee. So I don't know. That might be a three-way battle right now. If I had to pick one, I'm going to say it's Lake. I think Lake offers more upside, but I could see any of them, really. Hey, Brett. I sound excited, Peter. I hope I do. I don't know if... I'm going to assume you mean that, like, actually... See, here's the problem is when I go on those rants and I try to, like, answer all the questions, I get behind. When I get behind, you know, I read a comment like that. You sound excited, Jake. It's like, man, I don't remember what I was when your comment dropped. Maybe I wasn't excited and you're using sarcasm. It's funny. John, how's it going? Snead got off of Ramsey at the perfect time. I mean, I don't think he got hurt because it was like he was due. I think it just, you know, a freak thing. We missed you on the tube, Jake. Well, appreciate it, Isaac. CJ, thoughts on Hoyt? I feel pretty good about Hoyt starting. I got no complaints from me. I like Hoyt a lot. You're huge on Puka. Heard Jason Taylor was getting reps at the safety spot. Yeah. Yep, just saw that. Him and Torrance both have. Interesting. I think he's a number 4 or 5 receiver. They still have Tyon Evans listed on the Rams app. Is he still on the team? Thought he was cut. He is not on the team. No, he's on another team. That's kind of funny that he's on the app, though. What's up, Ashton? How we doing? If Rob H got hurt, that line would have been league worst of all time. Oh, yeah. That's another thing. That offensive line, what Rob Havenstein was able to do on that right side, like, that wouldn't have even been playable. Matt has always disliked the Rams. Gurley used to get horrible ranking. Goff, too. Get hyped, y'all, with the return of Rams football. Also likely means the return of Coach McJake. Jose, I want to see Lake out there. I do, too. Unproven talent isn't bad talent. Bingo, BT. Reminds me of that Twitter rant me and you had, Jake. What kind of stands out is I think the Rams are moving away from the gadget players like Powell in this offense. Also curious who takes punt return and kick return job. Yeah, that's interesting. I could see them giving that to Puka Nacua. I could see them giving Tutu Atwell the punt returner job and then kick returners Puka Nacua. Actually, I'll lock it in. I think that's my prediction there. Going to camp tomorrow. Let's go. Oh, you should have a blast. You'll have to let me know how it is. Alex Herrenboon, hold my beer. Tell us something we didn't know. We beat the Broncos by 40 last year with backups and guys off the street. That's true. What's up, Eric? How we doing? Would rather have Sean McVay than Scott Linehan, Steve Spags, and Jeff Fisher at their best. That's true. Go follow Jake on Kick, JK Bogan. Yes, please, guys. We're at 299 followers over on kick.com. I will be streaming over there nightly, every day, and I'll be going over there after the conclusion of JE Live. It'll be the same stream. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. Media loves the 49ers. It does feel that way, doesn't it? Could Puka be a number 4 wide receiver? I mean, yeah, his rookie year, it sounds like that might be the thing. BT Productions, Jake's rants never disappoint. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Kyle Shanakant. That is something else. I've never heard that, actually. Is that like a common thing that he's called? Like, I never heard that before. Bang bang escalator gang. Do you think Tyler Higbee will have a breakout year? He could. I don't know. I do not know. I think he'll have a solid year. I don't know if it'll be a breakout one. I think he'll have a good year though, because I think they're going to be rotating a lot. I mean, I could see Nacua getting involved and Robinson. I think right now I'm kind of leaning towards the idea of having 2,000-yard receivers, but I could see Van Jefferson falling short of 1,000. I wouldn't be surprised. Stetson Bennett will cook. Well, hopefully he doesn't have to cook, unless you're talking about preseason. Because no offense to Stetson, I don't want to see that guy anywhere near the football field this year, because that would mean Matthew Stafford is not on it. Are we doing any joint practices this year? I thought they had one scheduled for was it with the Bengals? I don't know. If y'all breathe air, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, 76 likes. We're 24 away from our goal of 100 likes. Let's freaking go, chat. Appreciate y'all. Love to see it. Where the hell was I? Oh, there we are. Are we doing any? Okay, I saw that. Oh my God, I caught up. Chat, I actually caught up to the chat. Let's go. Yeah, where is Nolan at? I don't see Nolan anywhere. Steve Avila jersey today in my inbox. Nice. Jake Ellenbogen reporting for I am not a mech. Nolan was able to relay a message that he's being tailed by the TVA, but we think it was a variant. LOL. Non-contact brutal. It is AG Jordan 100%. Jackson, Nopum, Shelton, Bruss, Havenstein, and let's go play ball. How you like that O-line? Brandon, I don't think it's bad. I don't think... I don't know. I have a weird feeling Nopum's not going to play. I think it's going to be Jackson. Right now, I feel good about saying Jackson. And you didn't have... what's his face? You didn't have Steve Avila in there. Avila's starting. I think a lock. The only locks on the offensive line are Avila and Rob Havenstein. I think right now I would say Jackson, Avila, Allen, Ankrum, and Havenstein. Now that right now that would be my guess for offensive line from left to right. Hey Scott, appreciate you. You just hopped on and first time commenting here. What did I miss? So yeah, you didn't really miss a ton. It's just Jordan Rodriguez was asked in regards to like what the lineup would be right now at wide receiver. And she said that she listed Puka as the fourth receiver. She said, obviously things can change, and I mean, it can, but I found it was interesting. And so I've gone on record saying Puka Nacua probably isn't going to get more than 20 receptions this year. And so I just thought it was interesting, and I should roll with it as kind of a topic going into the live stream. What's up, LA Rams? Oh, it's with the Raiders. Thank you, Ray. Gotcha. I think Jordan said whoever doesn't win the left tackle job will end up being the swing tackle for special packages. And that is the right move. At the goal line, you could just throw Joseph Nopum in there as a sixth offensive lineman. I like that a lot. Goal line packages are about to be like insane. Jefferson and Stafford have been practicing together in the offseason. It should be his best year yet. Yeah. It's pretty crazy when you think about, like, he didn't really get a lot of time with Stafford. How many receptions did Cooper Kupp get as a rookie? 62. That's the thing. Like, I know rookies and getting 1,000 yards is like the hope, but Cooper Kupp is the best wide receiver in the league, and he had 62 catches for 869 yards and 5 touchdowns. So it's like, I mean, I'm just saying. What about Tutu? Let's see. 18 for 298. His rookie year, he didn't get a catch. So, like, basically 2022 was his rookie year. By the way, fun fact. Tutu Atwell had fewer receptions than Van Jefferson, but he had 78 more yards than Van Jefferson receiving. And he had the same amount of touchdowns. Van Jefferson's rookie year. That's interesting, is it not? Yeah, they did win the Super Bowl the last time. They did a joint practice with the Raiders, I think. And then I think it was the Cowboys the year before. The Raiders, they didn't look good. I remember the Raiders looked better than the Rams. That was the talk. The Cowboys looked better than the Rams. The Bengals looked better than the Rams. I don't know. It's always the other team looks better than the Rams. Yeah, I do too. I think he will. Should be a fun year. 12 likes away from 100. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, also known as the like button. And if you don't know how to do it, if you're on mobile, you have to basically swipe out of the chat, and that'll allow you to hit the like button. And just fair warning, if you like any video on YouTube, not just mine, it massively helps the creator just by hitting that one thumbs up. You'd be surprised. It goes a long way. The algorithm is based on it. By the way, fun fact. Did you know that on Twitter, and I know now it's called X, just know that I'm not ever calling it X, so that's not happening. I'm just not going to do it because that's just ridiculous. But anyway, did you know on Twitter that a like of a tweet actually does more for the person in the algorithm than just retweeting? Did you know that? Pretty big, right? I thought that was pretty cool. If you like content, just like it. Retweeting doesn't help as much as liking a post. The more you know. Not Lucky TV, how we doing? A little different seeing me in this light, right? Some would say you're seeing too much of me. Alex double X. Damn you, Alex. And if you post a tweet with a link or picture, you'll get extra reach. Although I think the link, not Lucky, I think the link might be, that used to be the case. I don't think it's still the case because I know Elon was trying to basically throttle those links. Anything being linked off of his, yeah. Yeah, but no, you're right. I think a picture, if you tweet something with a picture, it will get extra reach. Thirst traps then only. Yep. You tweet something with a picture, and I think it's going to get more reach. And if you like it instead of retweeting it, it'll get more reach. Obviously, retweeting helps, but liking helps more. If the offensive line holds up, we will be in a lot of games. I'm not sold on Darion Kendrick to start. I feel that. I can't blame you there. Darion Kendrick is an interesting one to me. I'm a little concerned. He's a little banged up. They said he'll be fine. I'm still a little concerned that he's already banged up. But he's somebody I'm not as high on as the consensus, and maybe the Rams know something we don't with Darion Kendrick. I don't know. Got 8 more likes. Then we hit our goal. Alex just sent me, he just tagged me in something on Twitter. He said, J.K. Bogan on the daily. It's like me trying to get 8 hours of sleep in just 3 hours. Facts. You just zeeted me. I see you. See, Jerry, that's kind of the vibe I get. This is going to be kind of like McVay's first year at the Rams. I think they're going to be better than people think. I also think we're not going to hear anything about it. I think people will just walk it back like nothing happened when it happens, but it's the NFL. Like, teams don't stay bad in the NFL. There's a lot of parity in the NFL. Especially when you look at that NFC division or the NFC conference and you're like, wait, you think the Rams can't be a top 7 team in the NFC? Who's better? Who's more likely to be better than the Rams? Like, off the top of your head, who's like 100% going to be better than the Rams? Like, who can you really think of? The Eagles, right? After that, the 49ers. I mean, I hear it all the time, Seattle Seahawks. Look, let me tell you something about Seattle. I hear this all the time. Seattle this, Seattle that. I like what Seattle's doing. If Geno Smith is as good as he was last year. But what if there's an off chance that Geno isn't as good as he was last year? And oh, by the way, you have Walker. You have Kenneth Walker injured. You have Zach Charbonnet injured. That's not ideal. Another thing, why does no one talk about, well, because they didn't watch, let's be honest, but no one talks about the fact that the Rams literally lost to Seattle on the final play, and in both of those games, Matthew Stafford didn't start. Seattle has not seen Matthew Stafford since the year the Rams won the Super Bowl. Think about that. Who started the first game against Seattle? It was John Wolford last year. Who started the second game? That was Baker Mayfield. It came down to the wire in both of those games. At SoFi, I mean, they lost on literally the final play. And at home with Seattle, and one win gets them in the playoffs guaranteed. And they had a hard time beating the Rams, Baker Mayfield, in the freezing cold. So I'm just saying, they're gonna have to be a little bit more controlling of a team, more dominant of a team for me to believe in them. But let's just say you have the Eagles, you have the 49ers. Who else is after that? Who else do you really believe is better than the Rams? I'm not saying they're probably better than the Rams, or they might be better than, like, I'm saying 100% without a doubt, day one, this team is better. Seattle? No. I don't think it's guaranteed Seattle's better. I don't. San Francisco's better. Even with their whole quarterback catastrophe, they're better. Eagles are better. The Dallas Cowboys? I don't know if they're better. Is like, here's my thing. Dak Prescott, okay? I was told the other day I'm too hard on Dak. But I would just say everyone's too soft with Dak. Dak doesn't win. They don't win. They lost to the same team twice. Back-to-back postseasons. They don't win. Not Lucky says Dak's just a baby. Leave him alone. It's like, oh, what, you're forgetting about the Cowboys. No, I'm not. They haven't won since the 90s. How could I be forgetting about the Cowboys? They haven't won since the 90s. They haven't gotten past the divisional round of the NFL playoffs since the 90s. How am I forgetting about the Cowboys? Tony Romo was on better teams. Money doesn't buy trophies, Sherry. Yeah. I mean, the Commanders are intriguing. Sure, I'm excited as a football fan to see what Sam Howell's all about. But the Commanders aren't better than the Rams. The Giants, I think the Giants are good. I think the Giants make the playoffs. I have them as the number 2 team in the NFC East. I don't know if you guys saw that on Off the Edge. I did the show with Cam, our 32nd episode. But no, like the Giants aren't definitely better than the Rams. They might be better than the Rams. But, I mean, again, like, who are you going with? Daniel Jones or Matthew Stafford? Healthy Matthew Stafford or Daniel Jones? So that's my point. Is that, like, the only team that's definitely better than the Rams, the 49ers, the Eagles, and I'd say the Lions. I think the Lions are I think the Lions are definitely better than the Rams. That's it. Those 3 teams. And ironically, get this. I have those 3 and the Rams among the final 4 in the NFC playoffs. I have the Eagles versus the Niners, the Rams versus the Lions. I'm just saying. And we're talking NFC. Because the list goes on in the AFC. I think the AFC is a lot better than the NFC. But this idea that, like, the Rams have no chance, punch the under. You think they're going to lose less than 6 games this year? Or you think they're going to win less than 6 games? You're going to really hit on that 6.5? Really? Or sorry, you think they're only going to win 6 games this year? If you really think you're going to go under 6.5 wins, you're losing money. The Rams are winning more than 6 games. Come on. Every year they say they are a contender, but they suck. The Saints might be okay. I think Tampa's kind of in purgatory following Tom Brady. I think the Carolina Panthers will be probably one of the most fun teams to watch in the NFC with brand new quarterback Bryce Young. The Falcons have this youth movement going on. I kind of like what the Falcons are doing. Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be some fun teams to watch, the Giants included. I'm really excited to watch Darren Waller. Excited to watch Isaiah Hodgins again. Jalen Hyatt, you know. I'll tell you one team I do not think is going to be good at all. Pencil them in for the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, the Arizona Cardinals. I think that team is going to be very bad. And I could go on record and say that, and then I might end up being wrong. But, yeah, I don't think they're going to be very good. What's up, Only Reek? How we doing? What is the Rams' biggest weakness? Their biggest weakness is durability, because they have a lot of guys on their team playing important roles that have had significant injuries recently. Say what you will. Cooper Kupp, significant injury. Aaron Donald, significant injury. Matthew Stafford, significant injury. You look at the offensive line. I mean, you had a blood clot happen with Alec Jackson, their left tackle. You had their centers, Coleman Shelton and Brian Allen. They've had significant injuries in the past. There's injuries all over the place. That's my biggest concern, is health with them. That's their biggest weakness is health. That's what I keep saying to people. Because why is it that every discussion about Matthew Stafford is if he's healthy, or I was going to put him higher, but I don't know if he's going to be healthy? I mean, an injury-free Rams offensive line that keeps Stafford upright. And you really think that team isn't winning 10 games? Maybe I'm just like way overzealous on that, but I don't know. Yeah, I think Arizona trades down. I think they keep Kyler Murray, which is a mistake because I would absolutely take Caleb Williams and trade away Kyler Murray, but that's just the way it is. Yeah, Alex, I agree with you. That game was so poorly officiated. Oh, my Lord. Not trying to blame everything on the refs. Did anyone see Cooper Kupp was listed as the number 47 player in the NFL Top 100? I understand he got hurt, but that made him a lesser player. Do you want me to? I'm going to do it. You ready for this? I'm just going to completely shit all over this because I feel like it. Let me combine his stats right now, okay? Let's see something. Rams fan says the Cardinals are stuck with Kyler Murray in his contract. They are. I don't think anybody's trading for that. Let's see something here. Let's go to Pro Football Reference, and then we're going to go to career game logs. Are you guys ready for this? This isn't including the postseason, I don't think. No, it's not. Okay, not including the postseason. So, Cooper Kupp has 220 receptions and 2,759 yards, 22 receiving touchdowns since the beginning of 2021. If you don't know what that actually is, per 17 games, that's 144 receptions in a season, 1,800 plus yards, and 14 touchdowns. And you want to tell me that he's 47th in the league because he got hurt? Who's better than Cooper Kupp at the wide receiver position right now? The only one that you could even think to is Justin Jefferson. It's the only one. It's the only guy that's even close. So, I don't know. It's like when I had Steph on here and she's like, I think people kind of forgot Cooper Kupp exists. It's like, yeah, it does feel that way, right? I definitely think the Cardinals are going to trade the pick, though. If it's number 1 overall, which I believe it will be. Oh, man. Guys, hit the like. We got 96 likes. We got 4 more likes to hit our goal. 4 more likes on YouTube. Oh, there's 3 more. 2 more. Couple have a monster season. I think he'll just be Cooper Kupp again, yeah. I don't think the Colts will be that bad. I cannot wait to watch Anthony Richardson. Oh, we have 102 likes. You guys are awesome. This show is definitely worth a like. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. You know, the thing is, I understand not everybody is getting what they want out of sports media. And while this is strictly a Rams show, I mean, right now, JE Live can really be anything. It's just me going live on my YouTube channel and Kick. It's my talk show, essentially. but I aim for it to be no BS, you know? Like, I'm gonna make sure I know what I'm talking about before I get on and start spewing a bunch of nonsense. Unlike some other people. I don't have to name names. You guys have seen them on the big networks. I mean, we've seen... That's why a lot of networks are changing their formula. Things are changing. For the better, I would add, too. Does that really mean, however? What do you mean, Johnny? Tutu is not a bust. We don't know what Tutu is. You can't call a guy a bust if he's only played one season so far. And he's barely... Yeah, Florio. Right now, if I had to put my finger on it, the secondary will be Jacoby Durant in the star. So I'll say Jacoby Durant in the star. We'll have Akello Witherspoon on the outside, and I think Darion Kendrick will be on the outside as well, playing the boundary. So those two guys on the boundary, and then you'll have in the star role also / nickel. You'll have... and I mean, they might have four corners on the field. They might actually opt to have Jacoby in at safety at times. So it's kind of the Where's Waldo role. But that's what I think. I think the next man up is probably at that point Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. But I don't know. I mean, I wish Robert Rochelle would get a shot. I don't know if he already has and he just isn't showing up. And I don't know. Oh, okay, Johnny. I just want to be sure. Because sometimes, you guys have great questions, but like fat fingers get a hold of you on a phone and you don't get to send. So it sends something, because I've done this before, and it sends something and I'm like, oh, that was about to be a really good question, I think, but I don't know, because it gets cut off. So I like to give people that opportunity just to make sure. Darion Kendrick cost the Rams too many games. Tomlinson gets some playing time. I get it. Unfortunately, Tutu Atwell had nothing to do with the Rams passing on Creed Humphrey, but a lot of fans won't get over that. Rochelle was a former wide receiver turned corner. That's why he's so exciting to me. Not Lucky TV. We love to see mainstream media getting downsized. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Now, to be fair, I don't think any of the people that were let go were people that deserve to be let go for the most part. They did keep most of the talking heads that don't actually know what they're talking about, and they let go of the actual experts, so that's kind of sad. And I already said all of that at ESPN and everything, but just in general, I like to see, not at the expense of anyone's job, but I just like to see people who really put in a lot of effort and a lot of work, the smaller YouTubers and whatnot. They're the ones that are getting more. They're getting more stuff. Do another media rant, please. Oh, man. Don't threaten me with a good time, Dan. Oh, yeah. Don't threaten me with a good time. No. I mean, I'll just say this, okay? It's always been trending this way. Back in the day, the thing that was so lost on people is that you could turn on Sports Center and they have this great production and the microphones sound great. Everyone's mic'd up and they got highlights and whatnot. And you're like, wow, this is great. But nowadays, I can't really use highlights. Otherwise I get copyright claimed or struck. But nowadays, there are so many people who have access to cameras like these. This is not a studio camera. But would you say this is good enough? Chat, is my camera good enough for you? Or do I need to get an upgrade? Is my camera good enough? Is my setup good enough? Maybe my setup's too childish. I've heard that before. I don't care. I wouldn't change it, but I'm always curious to hear. Because the point is that, like, is my microphone good enough? Is my camera good enough? Is my presentation good enough? That is the whole thing that I'm trying to say about these, you know, these small YouTubers and media, is that nowadays there's an even playing field. There's an even playing field because now those studio people, right? Who you know, studios are spending X amount of dollars on a lot of camera equipment and just to make sure so and so whatever. You now have networks that do this. You have random small YouTubers that do this, you know? And so you can go to the store yourself. You can go on bhphoto.com, and no, they don't sponsor me. I just love them. They deserve all the credit. Because first off, they have a store in New York City that I finally checked out. It's great. But anyway, BH Photo. I got this Sony A6400. Okay. This is great. This is great. I got this for $1,000. Okay. I got this for $1,000. This is an upgraded camera. I originally had the Canon EOS M50, and that was about like $550. I got that during the pandemic. That's when I first started. This was a big upgrade. Will I upgrade again? I might. But the point is that you can have this quality picture, not this exact quality, because I have a light there, studio light there. I have a studio light there. That's a hair light that basically pulls my hair out of the backdrop or whatever. I have a light there. So I have studio lighting. This stuff is like $250. I think altogether it's around like $400. So right out of the box, this camera doesn't do that. I also have a $300 lens on the camera. But the idea that like you can still get this quality for spending, I don't know, under $2,000, people are doing that. And keep in mind, don't you remember that little stimmy check? Remember everyone got their little stimmy? You know what people did with that stimulus? Like, obviously, stimulus check, a lot of people did a lot of different things. They went on vacations. They took that trip they wanted to. They visited family across the country. They took a flight. Or, you know, they had a really ridiculous binge on food. Not judging, but if you spend $1,000 on food, I hope you at least spread it out a little bit. I love food, but come on now. I hope you didn't spend it all in one place. But, you know, here's the thing, is that, you know, there were also people that used stimulus checks for, you know, they used it for content creating. And the fact of the matter is this. Kids don't just want to grow up and be astronauts anymore and be teachers and be mothers and be like, it's not as like, you know, set in stone in these boxes. You know what most kids want to do now? There's actually proof of that on the internet. They want to be content creators. Now, we could get into why that could be a little dangerous for the future. Because that could. Unintended consequences. But the fact is that, you know, people like myself, when I was getting paid during furlough, because I didn't get laid off from my job, but I was on furlough, and I was still getting paid because of the stimulus thing. So I'm getting paid monthly. I'm getting paid weekly. And I'm saving that money. And I'm saving the money on top of the money I was already saving. And then what I decided to do, I was like, you know what? I'm going to dive headfirst into this shit. And that's what I did. My dad has been saying since 2016 when I started Downtown Rams, when I was writing at ramswire.usa Today, he was saying, I need to get on YouTube. I need to do videos. And I was like, I don't know. YouTube? Like, I don't have a great camera. I don't have a microphone. Like, I didn't know jack shit about YouTube. I just knew that I watched it every now and then. I had some good horror content because I'm a big horror movie fan. Michael Myers wasn't a dead giveaway. So I'm a big fan of horror movies. I'm a big MCU fan, so I watch a bunch of, you know, MCU content. And I just went on YouTube and I started looking up different ways to apply this setup, essentially. And what I came to, you know, the conclusion of is that, oh my God, the reason why these YouTubers sound so professional, It's actually do it yourself. I found out that this little thing, this XLR cable, could plug into a little, you know, I don't even know what to call it, like a audio interface. Yeah, that's what it's called. My Behringer audio interface. I've had that thing since I started. And you can plug this little thing into a Behringer, an audio interface, and you could plug that using a USB into your computer, and voila, you have studio grade sound. So that's the beauty, and I think, you know, it's a long rant, I guess, but the whole studio thing is now it's common. Now it's just like, are you willing to put the money to do it? And there are people that are, and it's getting more popular. You have people going out and buying this is the gold standard of microphones for podcasting. I don't care what anyone says. $399 will get you the best microphone in podcasting. This is the SM7B. This is my trusty SM7B that I actually stopped using for a minute because I don't even know why, but I used it was the Shure MV7. I liked using it. But it's just like, it's one of those things, man, where it's like you have this revolution of like content creators, and now I'm not trying to poo-poo on anyone who is a content creator, but now it's never been easier, chat. It's never been easier. You can literally take your phone, because this thing is better than most cameras now. You can do a stupid dance in front of your phone, and now you're famous. Like, it's never been easier. So obviously there are people that take like quality a little bit more seriously than others. I'm definitely one of those people. There are also, like, I don't know if you've ever seen Brett Coleman. He does football videos. The quality of his videos are like, it's insane. He's got a really nice shotgun microphone. His camera's awesome. Probably a $2,000 camera, I'd imagine. You know? So, I mean, that's the thing, is that you have these people that are taking it seriously. They know, like, hey, like myself, I appreciate you. I've seen you. I've seen your tweets. I've seen your Instagram stuff. I've seen you tag me and stuff. I've seen it all. You watch on the TV. Yeah, you might watch on here while you're dropping a deuce, and I don't blame you, okay? Like, I watch, YouTube videos too on the phone. But there are also people that watch me on their TV. And so I owe it to them to treat this like a TV show. So, I mean, that's the thing. If you're going to watch me instead of whatever's on the talk show that's on TV, then I gotta be better. And here's the good thing. People like me and Brett Coleman and Tom Grossi, we have experience. We don't have to be somebody that we're not, because we already have been doing it this way. We've been giving you how we really feel. We're not bullshitting just to fit a narrative. I don't have somebody in my ear talking. You know? It's just like and for me, I don't have a script. You guys should see my screens right now. I'm looking at my Kick chat right there. I'm looking over here, and this is my giant 49-inch monitor that's cut into a small little piece, because I basically use most of my monitor now as an extended display for gaming. But I'm looking at my OBS. So it's a little weird because I'm staring at myself right now. But I'm looking at my OBS studio. Okay? I'm looking at the comments section that I have literally pinned in OBS out of YouTube. I can see the people that are in the chat right now. I got X, which Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, in one of the tabs. I got Cooper Cup's career stats because I just looked them up. That's it. I don't go in any show. Maybe videos, I've been doing bullet points more. I think because I stick to the point more. I get more information out in a shorter amount of time. I know everyone has, like, I have a short attention span. I can't sit there and watch a video for too long. So I try to hit on everything, but for the most part, like, I mean, when we're talking JE Live, when we're talking live streams, I'm going off the cuff. Going off the cuff. Big 901, let's get back to the Rams talk, Jake. See, I've gone too far. But you guys have stayed, and I appreciate that. Are the Rams tanking this year? They are not, Michael. What's XRP? Scott says, I'm a professional musician and sure makes a great mic. I believe it wasn't this exact one, Scott, but, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know. The SM7, not the SM7B, because I think this is the SM7B. The SM7, if I'm not mistaken, by Shure, recorded Thriller. Michael Jackson used that to record Thriller. Let's see. Spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down? I've only heard that. I've never seen the movie. I've only heard that in Mary Poppins, which is a classic, of course. Oh, Johnny, you brought Rams Steelers? Fun fact, that's the game. If I go to any of them, that's the game I want to go to at SoFi. Should have saved my stimmy for sriracha bottles. Am I right, Dingus? You should have bought an Ultraman costume. Oh, I love you guys. That's so funny. You use a Shure SM58. Okay. Yeah, I swear by Shure. I've absolutely, I have this and I'm my one that is not portable, but I use it portably. I also have I don't know, it's somewhere. It's like a Shure microphone that literally plugs into an iPhone. You use a Blue Yeti. So Blue Yeti was my second microphone that I ever had. Going through my microphone journey, I had a Triton Xbox headset that my friend gave me because he gave me his Xbox One. So I had the Triton Xbox Edition headset. I got really upset one day and snapped it in half. So then I didn't have a microphone to do my Facebook Lives. Because for those of you who don't know, I did used to stream on Facebook, on the Downtown Rams Facebook. And those OGs out there that were in those, appreciate you. Shout out to you, of course. So yeah, then I switched and I got the Blue Yeti. I felt so good about it. I got the Blue Yeti. The one thing I'll say about the Blue Yeti, if you can, get it on a boom arm, get it with a shock, a shock mount, because my issue with the Blue Yeti is that I loved just how the thing looked so much because it looks so pristine. I was like a nice silver painted, coat of paint and everything. And it's got a nice, it's an old timey, stand. The problem with that is that it will pick up everything in the room. So it's great for recording music, Young and Isaac. It is not great for recording podcasts because, basically condenser microphones, that's what, if you're recording in a studio, great. But you don't want to do that if you're recording a podcast. If you're recording, if I'm doing this, I don't want a condenser microphone. I don't want you, you can probably hear this, this fan that's blowing. I'm sorry, the microphone quality might not be as good, guys, because I'm literally going to burn to a crisp if I don't have this fan on. But I assure you, as the season progresses, it won't be as hot. Anyway, my point, I had the Blue Yeti, all that, right? So that's that. Then I switched to the Blue Raspberry, which was smaller, and I couldn't believe how good it was. And then one day it just kept popping like crazy. It's another one of those, it's a really high, it's a high quality condenser USB microphone. And then after that, I started using one of my dad's stage mics because he plays music. He hosts an open mic night every week. So I was using that. I couldn't even tell you which one I was using. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm going to invest the money needed. I did it before I got into video. I invested in the Shure SM7B, went to that. And then I've been using it ever since. And I got the MV7 because I got a really good deal. And the MV7 was really cool. It had some cool features. The fact that it was an XLR, but it could also be a USB-C mic. I bring it with me. You guys saw the last time you saw the Shure MV7, I recorded the Russell Westbrook trade video for, was it D'Angelo Russell? I was in Florida. So I bring that with me on like trips. I typically want to keep my recording setup and my live stream setup exactly the same as I left it. That's obviously not as possible. I have my iPad here, which I use portably when I go on vacation or anything like that. I have my portable 4K monitor I also bring with me, so I have 2 screens. I have 3 screens because I have my laptop, and then I got this microphone. So I bring all that with me, but I don't bring this microphone. I bring the MV7. It just, I feel like it's better to just kind of leave everything the way it is. But, you know, and that's honestly a big reason why I don't feel that bad that like I'm not at the studio anymore, because the OGs that remember me recording in the studio that I used to rent with my cousin love the studio, don't love carrying things back and forth constantly. That I didn't love that. So I don't love, like, when you got 3 studio lights, and then I got my setup, of course, but you got 3 studio lights, you got to bring them, you know, all your dongles, because I have a MacBook. I'm a Mac user through and through. All the dongles you need just to make everything work and connect. I mean, you guys should see my cord setup. It's atrocious. It's always funny, you know, you have these gamers that are on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, etc., and they'll always post those tweets, and they're like, show me your gaming setup. And I'm like, dude, you don't want to see mine, okay? Like, these cords are intertwined. Like, it's like straight out of Avatar with the tails. Like, that's what we're talking about here. So you don't want to see that. Quality is great, Jake. Appreciate you, Jack. Whatever boom arm Gary Sheffield had before his new one, don't get that one. Yeah, don't get that. It kept falling on him. What's up, Ricardo? Johnny Ripple, no popping on the mic. None of the gross dry mouth sounds many get on their stream. Your show sounds great, looks great, and your Rams draft shows are the best around. I appreciate that, Johnny. By the way, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do it for me. I want... It's a reflection on me, but it's also me mentally. I feel better when I have a really good quality setup. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, you can pick up on the things that I've done, and that's why it's worth it at the end of the day. I feel you. I tried to buy one of those cord things to help them stay together. It didn't work out at all. I'm done with that. I'm absolutely done with that. I literally, like, people have those awesome, like, they'll clamp like a power strip on their desk. I don't even give a shit. I don't care. I won't do it. Maybe someday. Maybe when I move into my house down the road. I don't know. But I'm not going to do it now. Thank you, Ricardo. Mark Xavier over on Kick. How we doing? Man. Oh, question for you guys. I didn't want it to be too much. I like kind of a minimalistic setup, and I know we added the comments, and I know not everybody loves it, but I kind of like the setup because I feel like while I want to make it look professional, I still feel like having the comments goes a long way. You know, it makes people feel like they, and it should make you feel this way, like you're part of the show. And that's what I want. So what I'll say is this. Do you guys think it's too much for me to have, like, in my gaming streams, for me to have a viewer count? Is that too much? I used to have a viewer count and then I stopped. I'll just add it if you do think it looks good. But I don't know. Like, you would just put it at the top. Or something. Some people think it's too much. I don't know. Like, that's the thing. I don't want to piss off anybody. I know having the comments on the screen already pissed off people because they like the highlighted. I like the highlighted too. I did make the comments bigger. So I will say that. Although I probably should. There we go. That's probably better. Mike Myers could use a Rams hat. Yeah. All right. That's a request. Maybe too much. Yeah. I'll like this is the funny thing about being a creator is I'll go back in time. I'll be like, man, I'll look at this setup and like at some point down the road I'll be like, oh, I can't believe I ever used this setup. I don't know. I've done that before. It's funny. I've gone back and I've looked at my color grading because I actually learned how to color grade. I mean, albeit at an intro level job. Like don't hire me to color grade all of your pictures and stuff that are shot on crazy megapixel cameras. Like I probably wouldn't be able to do that. But as far as video, like I can do some color grading touch-ups and you can tell when if you go through all my videos, not saying do this, but I did. And you can easily tell when I started learning how to color grade better. It's just funny to me. I don't know. Maybe it's not a big deal, but maybe it is. Who knows? Let's see. Pretty good, man. Can't complain. Awesome. Glad to hear it, Mark Xavier. Yeah, we're going to be playing some Pokey MMO on Kick, and I will probably conclude this stream in a little bit. Does anyone have any final thoughts, comments, questions, concerns? Also, if you guys want to help me out, you like the show, maybe you never plan on using it, but it really would help me out if you went over to kick.com. It takes 30 seconds, signed up for it, and you don't even have to look at it again, but it would still help me out if you followed my channel, JK Bogan, and give it a try. Maybe you will like it. I don't know. No pressure. But if you like me, definitely helps me out. It also helps me out to like it. And you guys, 118 likes. Love it. You guys showed out. We went live late again. If I want to answer a question, I have one. Oh, you do? What statistic, offensively or defensively, do you see the Rams improving in this year, and why so? I'm gonna say, let's see. Let me look. Actually, I wanna add some fire to this. Since Cooper Kupp's already right there, we'll go here. We'll go previous season. We'll go to stats. Let's see. What was the question again? Improving this year. Okay, offensively or defensively? Do I like Doris Burke? I don't know. I mean, I think she's all right. I don't think she's like amazing, but I don't dislike her. All right, here are all of these stats. I'll do you one better, dingus. Here are all of the stats here that the Rams are going to improve in. You ready for this? Okay, let's do this. So, points for, they were 27th on offense, okay? They're going to score more than 27th in the league, 307. League rank offense, 32nd in yards. They're going to improve in that, okay? I think offensive, defensive turnovers, I'm going to say the defense gets more turnovers this year. I'm going to say that. I'm going to go, so they were 17th last year. I'm going to say they improve. Let's see. First downs, 27th. I'll say the Rams definitely improve first downs. I'll say passing yards, 3108. I definitely think they improve upon that. Touchdowns, passing, they were 28th in the league with 16. I definitely think they have more than that. Interceptions, 15. I think they're going to have fewer than that. So I think they'll improve in that as well. Let's see. I think that's net yards per attempt. 5.3. They'll improve in that. Attempts. So carries. 411 on the year last year. I think they'll have a little bit more than that. So I think they improve. I think rushing 1,600 plus yards. I think they'll improve in that. They were 27th in rushing yards. 15 rushing touchdowns, I think, is probably about where they will finish. So I'll say they don't improve there. Yards per carry at 4, 27th in the league. I'll say they improve on that. Let's see here. What else? Average points per drive, 22nd in the league. I think they improve on that. Average yards per drive at 27. I think they improve on that. As far as the defense goes, it's really hard for me to say. I think they're going to have more turnovers because they'll have more than 7 interceptions. I'll say that. Or no, they had 16 interceptions. They were 7th. I don't know. I have a feeling they're going to have more turnovers. Rushing touchdowns, they'll probably give up more than they had last year with 12. So I'll say that they will fall off there. I think they'll give up more yards rushing. Yeah, that's everything. Rams Tube, how's it going? I like that name. It is a hot take. You know, we like our hot takes. King Derek, you are our 300th follower. Really appreciate you. And now we can move the, we can literally move the needle on Botrix. Let's see what we got here. Normal. Copy. And it doesn't keep the same dimension. That's kind of annoying. Graphics are not my thing. I'm trying to fix this. Frankie Stu Familia. I can't even... Did I read that correctly? Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you over on Kick. Familia. My God, what am I saying? Why is that so... I don't know, man. It looks awful. I hate everything. Why did I do this? And now, yeah, I ruined it. It's over. It'll never look good. All right, well, that's my DIY. I didn't think they were likely to move away totally from empty sets. Jake, what was or is a hot take that you you have that people say is a hot take, but you don't think it is? Thank you, Mark Xavier. Appreciate you. That's a good question. What is a hot take that I don't think is essentially a hot take, is what you're asking. Cam Akers having 1,200 plus rushing yards. I don't know why people think it's so crazy that he would have 1,200 plus rushing yards. First off, 1,000 yards doesn't mean as much as it did before they added the games. So they've since added another game on the season. So let's just think about this for a sec. All right. So we got, where's my calculator? There it is. All right. So say you got 1,000 yards. You divide that by 16. That only meant you had to average 62.5 exactly to get to 1,000 yards in the past, correct? So 62.5. Now you go 1,000 divided by 17 with the new additional game. Now you just have to you basically just have to average 58.8. That's it. 58.8 a game. Not 100. So now we think 1,200, right? So 1,200 is what I think. Divide by 17. Cam Akers has to average 70.5 yards rushing to get to 1,200. Okay? Now you have to understand something here. If you look, right? Let's look at his last, his game log. So his game log, if you look at, say, the last 6 games, Cam Akers averaged, let's see, 90.4 a game. The last 5 games of the year, 90.4 a game. That extrapolates to a 1,537 total. So why do we think that it's such a hot take that Cam Akers could go for 1,200 plus? I don't know. But there are people that do. Like, there are people that think that it's crazy. I could see Puka getting carries, like the way Robert Woods did. You have any pets, Jake? Got a German Shepherd puppy a couple months ago. Damage Incorporated. Already about $600 in damage. Oh my God. Yeah, so I have a Malshi. I've had Coda for 7 years. I would say I've had him on the show probably 3 times. I'll bring him on sometime. He is, oh my God, he's the best. He's so good. He's such a good boy. He just loves people. He loves company. He loves cuddling. He's just a good puppy. And I feel like that's just like way, I mean, he's not a puppy, obviously, but if you saw him, like, he's small and it's great. I love small dogs. Some people don't. I love them, but I love all dogs personally. I'm team dog. So Cam Akers might make a Pro Bowl. Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, Eric Dickerson's 2,105 yards is absolutely insane. And if anyone breaks that in this era, I think it's also insane, considering we are in the age of the running back by committee and there's no more bell cows that'll run 400 times this season. But still, with that 17, that extra game, it does kind of diminish it a little bit. My favorite dog breed, before I got Coda, who's the Malshi, the Maltese Shih Tzu mix, I was always a fan of Beagles. I always wanted one. I think it's because I played Nintendogs when I was a little kid, and I just couldn't get enough of the Beagle. I thought they were like the cutest thing. I also like Golden Retrievers. I think German Shepherds are pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. My cousin had one. But yeah. I think, but yeah, like, again, I just love dogs. Ronnie Rivers, give him a chance. We'll see. I cannot read, man. I'm starting to like lose my sight. Why is it so small? Ranchero, appreciate the follow. 302, baby. Come on over. Come on over to kick. I'm growing both, and the reason I'm doing that is because, well, I want to, and I'm keeping gaming, separate from this channel. So if you want to go support, definitely go and hit that. Is that even like a hyperlink, or are they not linking it? I don't even know anymore, man. I don't even know. I do know this stream is kicked ass, though. Not that I'm trying to, toot my own horn, but Rams tube. I have not announced the Rams jersey giveaway. I mean, it could be any jersey. It is up to you. I'm doing it with Gary Sheffield Jr. Guys, if you want to enter that giveaway, definitely do a favor. Definitely do me a favor and follow Gary Sheffield Jr. as well on Kick. I'll give him a shout out on Kick right now. It's at Gary Sheffield Jr. on Kick, or kick.com/Gary Sheffield Jr. If you guys want a free jersey of your choice, follow both of us on Kick and you'll be entered to win. If we win the first couple of games, will you have high hopes for the season? Yes. I mean, if they go 3-3 to start, I think they're in good shape. Adrian Peterson was so mad he came up 12 yards short. Oh, I know. And he had a couple negative runs in that game, I think. And the best running back I've ever seen is Marshall Faulk. I personally think, actually, this is my hot take. I personally think Marshall Faulk is the greatest running back of all time. The reason I think this is because Marshall Faulk was the best receiving back of anybody. He was the most intelligent back, where to the point where he was literally an extension of the coaching staff and quarterback. People said he was smarter than Kurt Warner, and Kurt Warner was hell of intelligent. But also Marshall Faulk running an entire route tree at the level of a wide receiver, being as smart as the quarterback, being able to break tackles while, he's 5'10", 210 pounds. So, he was able to make guys miss. Very, very agile runner, and the guy was just reliable, and I think he might not be everyone's pick. He's not even everyone's pick for, like, say, the Rams. Like, people would say Dickerson's better, and I won't fight you on that. I think they're different backs, but my biggest thing, if I'm talking about who's the best of all time at a position, I want everything from the position. I want all the bells and whistles. I don't want to just, who's the best runner, okay? If we're talking the best runner, I will tell you straight up, is Eric Dickerson. No one ran the ball like Eric Dickerson, okay? Eric Dickerson straight up is the best pure runner of the football. And the only one that you could argue, I would probably say, is Jim Brown. Now, here's my argument against Barry Sanders. Because I'll say this right now. Barry Sanders was fantastic. But if Barry Sanders played today, with his running style and how many yards he lost, he would be ripped to shreds. Think about it. Barry Sanders playing on the Lions, who were terrible his whole career, playing in the age of analytics and PFF, he would be destroyed because he lost so many yards. Did he gain a lot of yards? Yes. But he lost a lot of yards. And when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, Barry Sanders is insane, right? He's just unbelievable. But what isn't talked about enough is how many times, like a third down, he lost a bunch of yards. Yeah, the offensive line wasn't great. Team was bad. I get that. He still lost a lot of yards. Now, he gained a lot, and so in the grand scheme of things, like when you take the full number, that looks really good. But like Marshall Faulk or Barry Sanders, I'm picking Marshall Faulk. He consistently gained yards in those third down, those tough situations. He's moving the chains. Oh, by the way, Faulk, maybe. I mean, it's hard for me to measure this, but Faulk has to be in the top 5 all time in pass protection backs. There's a common misconception you have to be some 6'2" brute. That's not what pass protection is. You have to know how to use leverage. You have to have balance. You have to frame. You have to mirror. You have to have some agility. And Marshall Faulk, man, that guy could pass protect. So yes, unpopular opinion, hot take, whatever you want to call it, I believe Marshall Faulk was the best running back of all time. What about Emmitt Smith? Great. He had a lot of yards. Emmitt Smith played for a while. Okay. Emmitt Smith was fantastic. Emmitt Smith has a record that might not ever get broken. The rushing yards. But Emmitt Smith was a pure runner. He didn't do things the way Faulk did them. Wasn't asked to do them the way Faulk did them. Barry Sanders lost a lot of yards. I think I love most running backs. Let me just say it's one of my favorite positions by far. I love running backs. Adrian Peterson, fantastic pure runner of the football. Daniel, appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I absolutely love running backs. I just think when you look at, like, for instance, Walter Payton, is he overrated? Maybe, but I think Walter Payton was great. I think, if anything, as time has gone on, I think Marshall Faulk has become underrated. When do you ever see lists of Marshall Faulk, right? When do you ever see lists of Marshall Faulk in the top 5? When I say Marshall Faulk, someone says, nah, LT. LT was better. Bro, LT was doing that stuff because of Faulk. Faulk was an inspiration. Faulk was an inspiration for the way LT played. There were guys in the past that were, you know, receiving backs, but not on the level of Marshall Faulk. Nuh-uh. 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving. Find me running backs that did that consistently. So, look, Faulk's the best. I think Jim Brown is, like, right up there. You know, Jim Brown was incredible. Because Jim Brown didn't go down. You know, Eric Dickerson, best pure runner. It's either him or Jim Brown. I'd say Barry Sanders was the most dynamic, electric, but look at Barry Sanders like this, okay? You have Janoris Jenkins with the Rams his rookie year, or two, you know, going into his second year. Remember Janoris Jenkins used to just take the bait? Like, Jack Rabbit would have a pick 6, or he would be given a touchdown the other way. Another example, Trayvon Diggs. You know how, Trayvon Diggs with his 11 interceptions or whatever crazy thing he had? Look at how many touchdowns he gave up. Look at how many yards he gave up. That's the thing. It was like the law of unintended consequences. You're not trying to give up a ton of yards, but you're making a risk. The way Barry Sanders ran, he gave up a lot of yards. He lost a lot of yards. And I'm not talking about as a whole, as a total. I'm talking about down to down. When you need to pick up a first down, you're on third down. You need to just get 2 here. Just get 2. Just stay in bounds. He would still try to, and it's fantastic to watch. But I'll tell you this right now. Technology isn't good enough, or it is, and the NFL just refuses to give us an archive of all the NFL games. I'm going to go with the latter there. Those highlight reels that you see of Barry Sanders, we're not seeing the negative. They don't show the negative runs, guys. They don't show the negative runs. There were a lot of negative runs. With Faulk, and they're obviously not showing the negative runs with Faulk either, but there weren't a lot of negative runs. The guy might hesitate, but he didn't dance in the backfield or anything like that. LT was phenomenal. He's definitely up there. Adrian Peterson, fantastic pure runner. Good in pass pro, not amazing and limited in the receiving game. You know, you had guys that don't get enough respect, like Curtis Martin, just fantastic, you know, running back there. Fred Taylor, really, really good. Steven Jackson, it doesn't hold as much weight because I have a Rams helmet and a Rams banner in the background, but Steven Jackson is probably the most underrated running back of the last 10 to 15 years. And the reason I say that is because Jackson ran behind complete garbage. He never had a hole to run through. And I'll say this, like, I think when you look at, Steven Jackson, everything that Marshawn Lynch is what Steven Jackson was and more, but Steven Jackson didn't get to play on a Seattle Seahawks team. Okay, he didn't get to play for a Super Bowl champion, and that's the thing that bothers me about the Jackson, rhetoric is that, Marshawn Lynch will get in the Hall of Fame somehow. He's liked by the media. I don't dislike Marshawn Lynch, but he's liked by the media. He was fun to watch. Everyone can relate to where they were when, the freaking crazy hurricane level, or what the hell was it called? The earthquake level decibels at Lumen Stadium, or whatever the hell it was called then in Seattle, when Marshawn Lynch in the playoff game against the Saints broke like 8 tackles. Like, people say OBJ, his career was made off of one play. Bro, go back to the Beastquake. Thank you, Brett. I'm not even going to take credit for that. You threw that in there. Go back to the Beastquake. Marshawn Lynch could have done nothing the rest of his career and would have been able to live off that play. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I know I'm not wrong. So, the whole thing with Marshawn Lynch, great running back, definitely deserves credit, gets too much credit, way overrated. He is not beast mode. The real beast mode was Steven Jackson. Marshawn, do that in St. Louis. Do that with the offensive line that you had. Okay? Like, do that with the offensive line Steven Jackson had. It's just, that's how I feel. Is that's like, Jackson doesn't get that credit. And then, of course, Jackson goes to the Patriots, and the Patriots don't know how to win. Like, you guys won 7 Super Bowls, 6 Super Bowls with Tom Brady. And the one time Steven Jackson was there where, hey, a Super Bowl could have helped his Hall of Fame resume. Nope, you lose. Of course you did. Of course you lost that. He goes to the Falcons. The Falcons decide to be ass. I just think, like, Steven Jackson... And also another thing about Steven Jackson, he's like this 6'3", 230, 240 pound running back who had a route tree. So it's like being around Marshall Faulk, like, only elevated him. And it's like, man, like, I don't know. I think Steven Jackson is a Hall of Famer because of what he was able to do with what was around him. He proved that. Am Rams fan, I totally agree. If he was on an elite team with an elite offensive line, now you start to talk about, is this guy in the top 10, right? Is he a top 10 running back all time? But I think at the very least with what he did, his level of excellence, I think it was 7 straight years with 1,000 yards. And he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. And I don't even think it's going to be close. I mean, that's the thing that it kind of goes to show you, like, okay, he's grinding his ass off in a bad environment, never complained once, never made it about him, always made it about the team, was never a locker room cancer or anything like that. And what did he get rewarded with? Well, he's not going to the Hall of Fame. He's not going to win a ring. Marshawn Lynch got himself out of Buffalo because, I mean, this guy's like, I'm not going to win here. I don't know exactly what happened there, but, you know. Yeah, Jackson is so underrated. Yeah, just look up his stats, guys. I'm not kidding you. Like, the receiving ability of this guy just does not. You don't expect a guy at that. Look at Derrick Henry. Every time I watch Derrick Henry catch passes, I'm like, why don't they use him in the receiving game more? It's because he doesn't have he doesn't have this route tree. Like, Steven Jackson had a route tree. Steven Jackson was going out, he's lining up in the slot, he was lining up out wide, and he was running actual routes. As a giant 6'3" linebacker looking mofo. This guy's running routes. Like, actual routes. I'm not talking about, okay, they put him in Madden and they gave him bad route running and it's like he can't, you know. No, he was running routes. 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Thank you. I knew it was 7 or 8. That's insane. Like, and with no offense, with no line, how is that not a Hall of Fame? Hall of Famer. Ricky, I just followed you. Jake, what's Gary's Kick username so I can follow him? It's kick.com/Gary Sheffield Jr. So it's all one word. I'll put it in the comment section. I get Kupp hurt last year, but him being number 47 in the NFL top 100 is crazy. Pretty sure Stafford didn't even make the 100. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Gotta love SJ39. Unless he did damage to your team, then I don't think you love him. Jordan, what about it was a terrible take? Thank you so much for subscribing. I wasn't able to see who that was because I can barely read that shit. I was so hyped to have the alerts, and now it's like I can't even read that shit. But no, I really appreciate you subscribing. Jordan, I want to make this very clear. I am actually a fan of Barry Sanders. I'm not trying to like discredit him. I'm just saying that, like, yes, he was in kind of a similar position as Steven Jackson, but he still lost a lot of yards. Jackson didn't lose, right? There was a lot of dancing. Now, Jackson danced in the backfield a little bit. Like, Barry Sanders was doing straight up Dante Hall type of shit when Dante Hall was, like, one of the best returners in the league. Going off one way, going back the other, like, dipping and diving and all that. And it's like, you know, the whole live to play another down, like, he wasn't about that. He was trying to make everything a home run, and I think that's the one thing. And keep in mind, when we're talking about the greatest ever, we're splitting hairs here. We're going to be picky. If I think Marshall Faulk is better than Barry Sanders, I'm going to give you every instance as why I believe that's the case. If I'm looking at the best running back all time, no one does what Marshall Faulk did. There are running backs that check most of the boxes, but to be one of the best pass protectors ever, to be maybe, I mean, I'll just say it. Marshall Faulk was the best receiving back of all time. So we'll say top 5 all time in pass pro, best receiving back, one of the best pure runners, really intelligent, quarterback level intelligence, head coach level intelligence, route runner, like not just a guy, natural hands catcher, but a true route runner he's a route running savant, could run in, you know, out of the slot, be lined up, flexed out wide. He can come out of the backfield and run, you know, all sorts of routes. And then you look at him and just how quick he was, his agility. So when you have all of that in one, the only thing he doesn't have is like overt power, right? He didn't run like Steven Jackson, and that's okay. That wasn't his game. But Steven Jackson got some stuff from being around Marshall Faulk that one year as his rookie, and I will say I think he applied that to his game. I think it made him a better player. But Marshall Faulk is unlike anything we've ever seen. I think the closest to Marshall Faulk is probably Christian McCaffrey. But even still, as great as Christian McCaffrey is not the pass protector Marshall Faulk was, or the football intelligent savant Marshall Faulk was. All around, yeah, Marshall. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think Marshall's the best running back of all time. And I agree, I agree, Faulk is always my top pick. He made me want to play football and a Rams fan. Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, well, I mean, they're different. They're definitely different running backs. Steven Jackson ran so Lynch could walk. I mean, that's pretty much what happened, right? Steven Jackson sacrificed his body so Marshawn Lynch could go have an actual Hall of Fame career. Yeah. Marshall could push for the extra yard or two needed for the first down like no other his size. Yeah, that's another thing. Arian Foster. He was bigger though, right? Or he was taller. Johnny, that's so random but so true. 3rd and 9. An 6-yard out route to Kendricks. Let's just get ready to punt. If Dickerson stays in LA, I believe he's the undisputed best, but he didn't, and there is Charles White and Greg Bell lit it up after ED left. Great O-line. Yeah, guys, Greg Bell's season was unreal. I go back and I look at that and I'm like, oh my God, he had so many touchdowns. That offensive line was Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, they like Kent Hill was a monster. Hare, I believe, was on there. I mean, of course, you had why am I blanking on his Jackie Slater? Yeah, you had a lot of guys there that were just studs. Jake, do you think Higbee is the greatest Rams tight end? Oh, also, I think Irv Pankey as well was on that team. Fun fact, I interviewed him. Do you think Higbee is the greatest Rams tight end of all time? If not, do you think when he retires? Yes, I do. I think before it was either Billy Truex from the Fearsome Foursome era Rams, or I'd say Pete Holohan. I think the big issue is that Pete Holohan, he didn't get to play as long. I think he wanted to remain with the Rams, but I think he ended up going to the Chargers and staying there. So, yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I think Pete Holohan was probably better than Truex, but Truex was around longer, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was. And then you look and you're like, okay, Ernie Conwell is up there. He could have done something. Kendricks could have done something. Higbee, I would say Higbee's the best of all time as far as tight ends in the Rams organization. And say what you will. Maybe that makes you laugh. Maybe you think that's a joke. I don't. I think Higbee is an underappreciated tight end. Is he perfect? No. But you got him in the 4th round. You got him in the 4th round out of Western Kentucky. He was the second. He was one of 2 tight ends you drafted in that draft. I mean, I see what you're saying, but it just means, like, find other teams that have crazy tight ends. I mean, you have to understand the tight end position didn't become dominant on the level of, like, receiving until, like, the 80s. I mean, Kellen Winslow made it really, like, that became a thing after Kellen Winslow, and Mackey on the, the John Mackey on the Colts. Yeah, Jerome Bettis was awesome. Yeah, Higgs underrated. Troy Drayton, I wouldn't say he's on that level, but, I mean, Roland Williams is a guy that I just really like. Like, I've gotten to know him. He came on our show a couple times. He's a good dude. Mike Ditka. Yeah. And I mean, depending on who you talk to, Tom Fears, tight end. For those of you that know Rams history, is Tom Fears a tight end or a wide receiver in your mind? That's actually really important. If you think Tom Fears is a tight end, he's by far the greatest Rams tight end in history. If you look at him as a wide receiver like I do, then it's Higbee. But to me, he was flexed out. Like, he wasn't playing the, Jake, what in your opinion is the greatest single game performance by any player in sports history? That's a good one. The greatest performance? The Karl Malone one is insane. I didn't even know that. 13 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists, 13 steals, and 13 blocks. Oh. All right. I got to get the actual thing here, but one second. It's a Ram. I'm going to say it's a Ram. All right. So in 1951, the LA Rams played the New York Yanks on September 28th, 1951. Okay. history lesson here, if you guys don't know. Mr. Dutchman, also known as Norm Van Brocklin, was basically filling in for Bob Waterfield, this would-be Hall of Fame quarterback. And Norm Van Brocklin went 27 of 41 with 5 touchdowns. Okay. And he broke the record, which still stands to this day, for passing yards. And like, to me, at 554 passing yards thrown in 1951, where everyone and their mother is running the football, 554 passing yards. Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch, 9 receptions, 173 yards. Tom Fear, 7 catches, 162. V.T. Smith, 2 catches, 103 yards. Tom Cricket Kalmaner, 2 catches, 40 yards. Dan Towler, Deacon Dan Towler, underrated running back. Definitely check out his story. 2 catches, 30 yards. Jerry Williams, 2 catches, 22 yards. Tom Keene, 2 catches, 10 yards. And Bob Boyd, 1 catch, 14 yards. They won the game, for the record. I don't know if I had to tell you that. I figured that kind of went without saying. Anytime you have a quarterback that throws 5 touchdowns, has 554 yards, you would assume that, to me, is the greatest performance, because that is unbelievable. And you know, I mean, I might actually, the 81 points from Kobe, I know Jeremiah's bringing it up, and that was the first thought that came to my mind, but I don't know. It's tough because you have the 554 yards, right? And then let's see. So you also had Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game where he had 100 points. So, I mean, I don't know. He had 41 at halftime. Yeah, man. I think Van Brocklin throwing 554 yards in 1951 as the backup quarterback, essentially, is insane. Aaron Norris, I totally agree with you. I think Jared Goff in that game against the Vikings, I've said it before, and I'll say it now. Jared Goff's game against the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football is the best performance I've ever seen from a quarterback. To me, it was the equivalent of pitching a perfect game in baseball. Jared Goff on Thursday Night Football, I think it was 2018 against the Vikings, week 4, was untouchable. That's funny. The Yanks were just like, yep, we're so done that we're just, yeah. So, I mean, okay, you could say it was level of competition, but anytime you throw 554 yards as the backup quarterback going into it, I mean, that's impressive, especially in the 50s when, like I said, running was everything. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you had guys that actually, like Don Hudson. Fun fact, do you know who the, I think it was the second. Oh, hold on a second. I want to get this right. I love football history, if you can't tell. Okay, 1,000 yards. Okay. Okay, so Don Hudson was the first 1,000-yard receiver in NFL history. He had that in 1942. He was incredible. He only had 1,000-yard season, but do you know who else had a 1,000-yard season? The second ever 1,000-yard receiving season, and is not a Hall of Famer? That would be Jim Benton for the LA Rams in 1945. Jim Benton, on 45 receptions, had 1,067 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. He averaged 23.7 yards per reception, which is insanity. Don Hudson averaged 16.4. He had 74 receptions. Benton followed up the next year, leading the league in receiving yards and receptions, and then another year where he had 511 yards, and then he retired at age 31. Benton is not a Hall of Famer. The second ever 1,000-yard receiver in NFL history is not a Hall of Famer. Jim Benton, 6'3", 200-pound wide receiver that played his entire career with the Rams except for one random season when he played in Chicago. Not a Hall of Famer. The more you know. Oh, yeah, the New York Titans. The Titans of New York. I've seen those uniforms. They were a little ugly. Probably a 12-game season too. Yeah, that exactly. Actually, I think it's 100% a 12-game season. All right, so get this. This is how insane Jim Benton was. He got 45 receptions and 1,067 yards in 9 games. Nine games, guys. That is nuts. Mind you, this is in the 1940s. Oh, do we have game logs? Oh my God. We have game logs. Oh my Lord. Jim Benton had a game where he had 10 catches for 303 yards against the Detroit Lions. That team was crazy, coached by Adam Walsh. They won not a Super Bowl, an NFL championship. They beat the Washington Redskins 15-14, and the Rams completed a 10-1 season. It's not the Los Angeles, it was the Cleveland Rams, my bad. But yeah, Jim Benton is not a Hall of Famer. Oh, in that game he had a touchdown and 9 catches for 125 yards. I don't know. I don't know how he is an Hall of Famer. It's funny, he started off the season 1 catch for 9 yards. And that was a 21-0 win over the Chicago Cardinals. And then the Rams lost 1 game that year. It was against Philadelphia Eagles, 28-14. The greatest show on turf, I'll just say, is top 3. I think Peyton Manning Broncos is probably number 1. And, man, I think number 2 has to be like that. I don't know. Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill is probably up there. It's tough. I think they're top 3, though. So my buddy Blaine sent me, he sent me a tweet. It was like ranking, well, yeah, the Brady Moss Gronk combination was definitely something. It was like ranking the 11 best wide receiver duos. So this is this is insane to me. Randy Moss, Chris Carter's number 1. Okay. Jerry Rice, John Taylor's number 2. Randy Moss, Wes Welker is number 3. Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden is number 4. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins is number 5. Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne is number 6. Mark Clayton, Mark Duper is number 7. Lynn Swan and John Stallworth is number 8. Number 9 is Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt. Number 10 is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And number 11 is A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. What? All right, here's my thing, okay? Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, I mean, they're better than Randy Moss and Wes Welker. They're probably, honestly, that might be the best tandem. It's up there. It's, you know, Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald is definitely up there. Jerry Rice and John Taylor. Randy Moss and Chris Carter's probably... But I mean, you could make an argument, like a serious argument, that Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt was the best duo. The fact that they're number 9 is insanity to me. Barr was getting smoked. I see what you just said, yeah. I don't know. It feels odd. Like, I mean, when you say Rice and Owens is up there, I mean, am I missing something? And Calvin Johnson and anyone else? Yeah, I think Ellard and Flipper. Okay. I mean, I thought Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods is pretty darn good. I would take Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods over A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I don't care. I do not care. Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders on the Broncos. Kupp and OBJ, yeah. I don't know. I just don't think people understand. Isaac Bruce is one of the best route runners of all time, and Torrey Holt was one of the best. Like, don't get me wrong, he wasn't 6'5", but if you needed a guy to go up and high point the football and come down with it, Torrey Holt was going to do that. They complemented each other well. Megatron and you should be honorable mention. That's the point, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love the list, I can tell you that much. I think Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Isaac Bruce, and Torrey Holt need to be way higher. Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden, that seems fair. Randy Moss and Wes Welker, maybe lower that a little bit. I mean, I think Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt were better than Randy Moss and Chris Carter as a full-on duo. Because I don't think Chris Carter's better than any of those two that I just mentioned with the Rams. I do think Randy Moss is the best of those three. It would be insane. Steve Smith and, like, what, Muhsin Muhammad? I mean, I guess it makes more sense than Lynn Swan and John Stallworth. Why are they so high? Why is Mark Clayton and Mark Duper so high? I don't understand that. Like that, I mean, they're ahead of Mark Clayton, 582 receptions, 8,974 yards, 84 touchdowns. Like, he's not a Hall of Famer, by the way. That's kind of crazy. Mark Duper. $59 touchdowns. I mean, oh God, chat. I'm absolutely about to do this. I'm absolutely about to do it. Are you ready? I'm absolutely about to break these all down. Where's our notes? Don't stop me now. Okay. Top 11 wide receivers broken down. Okay. Oh, yeah. Jerry Rice and T.O. were not on the list. No idea why. All right. Let's go with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Or no, let's start from the top. So let's go Randy Moss and Chris Carter. We're going to go look at their combined stats. That's how we're going to do it. Randy Moss, Chris Carter, combined stats. There we go. Or no, let's do stats together. Let's do stats together. So like when they were with Chris, so when he was with Chris Carter, so Chris Carter was on Minnesota from 2000, or what is it? 1990 to 2001. Randy Moss was on Minnesota from 1998 to 2001. Okay. So if we're doing that, 1998 to 2001, that's 4 seasons. So Moss, Carter combined for, let's do that, 337 and 308. So 337 plus 308. That's 645 receptions. All right. How's it going, Otani Prods? Let's see. 4397 plus 5396. So that's 9,793 yards. Okay. And then what? 53 touchdowns? And Chris Carter. So 93 touchdowns. So in 4 years, we'll average these out too, but we're just going to write them down for now. So then we have Rice and Taylor. Jerry Rice. John Taylor. I gotta look up. I have to literally specify football. This guy was on the All Hall of Fame 1980s team. By the way, isn't a Hall of Famer. And he's not a Hall of Famer. I'm looking at it right now. So anyway. Okay. Jerry Rice and Taylor. So Jerry Rice played with John Taylor from 87 to 95. Okay. So Taylor's entire career was with Jerry Rice. So Taylor had 347 receptions in that time. Jerry Rice had 807. So I already see a discrepancy here. Jerry Rice was that much better than Taylor. 807. So Jerry Rice and Taylor over 1,000 receptions, which by the way Moss and Carter did not have. The averages is where it's going to be kind of interesting. This is not based on their best year. This is all the years they played together. So we're going to average it at the end. John Taylor. So 5,598 yards. Plus Jerry Rice's ungodly 12,626 yards in that same time frame. So that's 18,224 yards. Okay. And so this is 4 seasons. And then why does it freaking Apple Notes it keeps switching touchdowns to CDs. So TDs instead of CDs. Okay. 128 touchdowns for Jerry Rice. And then John Taylor had 43. So 128 plus 43. Hit 171. 171 touchdowns. Not CDs, TDs. And how many seasons is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 9 seasons. All right, we're doing our project right now. Actually, I could just show you my screen. Nah, never mind. Okay. Doing a project. So, we got that. 9 seasons. Let's see. We got 171 touchdowns. Okay. So if we're doing that, let's do 171 divided by 9. That's 19. And then, so 18,224 divided by 9. That's 2,000. Okay, that is absurd. That is absurd. So Jerry Rice and John Taylor averaged over 2,000 yards a season. And then receptions, they had what, 1,154 divided by 9. So 128. And let's just, right now, let's just do Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, right? Bruce Holt. I'm not going to do them all. Not right now. I'm not going to bore you to death. But I just wanted to see something. So let's do Torrey Holt. Stats. And Isaac Bruce. Stats. Okay, Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce played on the same team with each other from 1999 to 2007. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Same exact seasons as Jerry Rice and John Taylor. Okay. In those years, Isaac Bruce had 630 receptions. Torrey Holt had 805. So this is going to be interesting. These numbers are going to be really interesting here. So 630, 805. 630, 805. That's 1,435. That is more than John Taylor and Jerry Rice. So more receptions. Then the yards, 9,446. Torrey Holt, 11,864. 9,446. And Torrey Holt, 11,864. So that is more yards than Jerry Rice and John Taylor, 21,310. And Jerry Rice and John Taylor had 18,224. That's interesting. So then we go to touchdowns, where Torrey Holt had 71 touchdowns and Isaac Bruce had 55. $126, which does fall short of Jerry Rice and John Taylor. So now this is going to be interesting. It just turned touchdowns into IDs. I really hate this autocorrect. So this is also 9 seasons, okay? So 9 seasons. So then we do 1435 over 9 seasons. They averaged 159 receptions a season, which is a lot more than Taylor and Rice. Let's see. 21,310 divided by 9. So they averaged 2,367 yards per season. That is more than Taylor and Rice. And then 126 touchdowns divided by 9. So Taylor and Rice will have that. They averaged 14 touchdowns a season, and Taylor and Rice averaged 19. So, I mean, in conclusion, Holt and Bruce are honestly pushing the greatest as far as stat-wise. Let's look at Moss and Carter, okay? So Holt and Bruce pass Rice and Taylor. Rice and Taylor only have more touchdowns per season, okay? So we're doing averages because they both played 9 seasons. Holt and Bruce own them in receptions and yards. Touchdowns goes to Rice and Taylor. That's interesting. That's a big deal when you're talking about duos. Now let's look at Moss and Carter. So you do 645 divided by 4, and that's 161. So 161 receptions per season is pretty incredible. And it's barely more than Bruce and Holt. So now we do 9,793. Divide that by 4. And then we got 2,448. So that is a better performing duo statistically than Bruce and Holt. And I'm not going to complain about them being ahead of Bruce and Holt. But that's not the issue. The issue is that Bruce and Holt are among the top. Now 93 touchdowns divided by 4, is 23, which is insane. So in reality, this kind of goes without saying. Moss and Carter clear everybody. Jake, think about the quarterback difference. Montana and Young versus Warner and Bolger. Bolger was a fine quarterback, but a drop-off. Bruce and Holt overcame that and other issues. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So let's do one more. Guys, out of the duos, let's check out Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. All right, let's just do one more. I'm just curious. All right. So Marvin Harrison. Or I'll just put in Reggie Wayne twice, like a Nimrod. Reggie Wayne came in the league in 2001 and played with Marvin Harrison for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So in that time, this is going to be fascinating. Okay, let's do this. So Harrison / Wayne. We got 689 receptions plus 576. Damn it. 176. 689. Interesting. So not as many receptions per season as Holt and Bruce. Then we look at yards, 81-29, 90-26, so 81-29, 90-26. And that is not even close. 17,155. And these are total. These aren't averaged yet. They also played one fewer season. I forgot to say that. Okay, so then you do that, and then touchdowns. 81 touchdowns and 53. 81, 53. Let's see. 134. Okay. That's actually more than Bruce and Holt. Okay, now let's do the averages. Ready for this? So 1265. We're going to average that. Divide by 8. So that's 158 receptions, which is one shy of Bruce and Holt. Okay. You know, 17,155 divided by 8, and that is 1. Okay, it is lower than interesting. So 2,144 yards, and then 8 seasons. And then touchdowns they'll have, I believe they'll have that 16 touchdowns to 14. So yes, once again, Harrison and Wayne have the touchdowns, but Bruce and Holt have the yards and they have the receptions. And again, to your point, sorry, Bruce and Holt, not Bruce and Wayne. Once again, to your point, Bruce and Holt had Bulger and they had and Warner. They didn't have Warner forever either. So, you know. That's also true. They're competing with Marshall Faulk as well. Not like obviously, but you know. So, look, I'm not going to do them all right now. But I mean, like, come on. Bruce and Holt, when they were playing together, had more yards per game average than anybody except for Moss and Carter. Touchdowns was the one thing they didn't have. Excuse me. And that was because of Marshall Faulk and just the lack of, you know, Kurt Warner-esque talent that they played with the majority of their career. Because they only had Warner for a few years. and they lead in receptions, except for everyone except for Moss and Carter, who barely lead them in receptions and don't lead them by that much in yards per game either, or yards per season. So in conclusion, and I'll tweet this out if you guys are interested. I'll probably make a tweet about this, but yeah, Bruce and Holt are in the top 3, and they're not 3, so they're probably 2. I'd probably go Randy Moss and Chris Carter, but I think at the same time it's really subjective, because if are you going to give Chris Carter and Randy Moss, are you going to bump them a little bit for only playing for 4 seasons? I mean, I think it's different to do it for 9 seasons, but I'd still probably go Randy Moss and Chris Carter, because that is insane. Like, their numbers in 4 seasons is really, really, really good. But I mean, I wouldn't fight you if you wanted to say Bruce and Holt were the greatest wide receiver duo ever. I do think it proves, though, it confirms what I suspected. Harrison and Wayne were great. They had Peyton Manning, though, their whole career. I'd take Bruce and Holt over them. I would 100% do that. I would take Bruce and Holt over Jerry Rice and John Taylor as a full duo. Jerry Rice is the best receiver ever and probably the best player ever. Can we talk about that for a second? Jerry Rice is the only, I think the only argument for best player ever is Jerry Rice and, Aaron Donald. If you talk about the most dominant football players, between Jerry Rice and Aaron Donald, who's even close? Brady, that'd be the only one. But is he dominant? Do you look at him and you are constantly always yeah, he's the best quarterback in the NFL? I think it was up in the air. But yeah, guys, appreciate you. Be sure to if you haven't already, 142. Y'all rule. Be sure to check out Kick. Jake, was there ever a player you were wrong about? Yes, I've been wrong about a lot of players. I didn't think Josh Allen would be this good. I thought he'd be a bust. I never could have seen that. Never in my life could I have seen Josh Allen being this good. Guys, do me a favor before we head on out of here. Be sure to hit that link in the comments section. It takes 30 seconds. Head on over to Kick. Follow me on Kick. It will help me so much. You don't even know. 302 followers. We got over 18,000 subscribers. Imagine what I could do if I had 18,000 subscribers on both platforms. That's not happening. I'm very well aware of that. But I'm going to be posting. We'll be doing film breakdowns over on Kick, since I can't do them on YouTube. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out. I can only do copyright stuff on Kick right now, because I'll get copyright claimed on YouTube. So if you want film breakdowns, if you want to win a free NFL jersey, if you want to see more of Jake, then go and follow me on Kick. I'll appreciate it. Nick Wright is wrong. Allen is not a bust. 982 views. We had 982 views tonight. Wow, we streamed for 3 hours. I'm not going to lie, guys. I was going to go and play some games on Kick afterwards. I might call it a show if you guys don't mind. I'm a little tired, and I think tomorrow's a big day. I got a lot of content to make. Going to be recording Off the Edge with Cam. Don't forget, we have a live stream at 4 p.m. Eastern time if you're into the MLB trade deadline. It's not necessarily team specific, but I'm sure we'll talk a ton about the Yankees because we're both Yankee fans. But we're doing a trade deadline show tomorrow, so definitely check that out. It'll be JE Live per usual, but we'll be talking about the MLB trade deadline, and I'll have Gary Sheffield Jr. on. So, yeah, if you're into that, you know. But I think that is going to do it. So, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. And I'm sorry to everybody on Kick. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night. We'll be back at it harder tomorrow. I'll be streaming some games tomorrow, so I think it's probably smart for me. Can't do everything, you know. Even though I know there were probably some people hoping that I would, you know, game a little bit, but yeah, I'm gonna call it. So appreciate you guys. Love y'all. Y'all be well, and let's keep this grind going. Let's try to be more consistent on JE Live. If you build it, they will come. And it looks like I built it, so. But yeah, I'll see you guys. Later, folks. Do you need some energy to get through the day without relying on coffee? I got just the thing for you. It's called Neuro, and I'm partnering up with them for today's video. Neuro has gum and mints to energize, calm, and focus when you need it. They were developed by former athletes who were training at the highest level and simply didn't want to take any mysterious supplements or energy drinks when studying, training, or even going out. Instead of something sugary and ineffective, they wanted to create clean and balanced energy that could be taken anytime and anywhere. Their energy and focus formula is specially formulated with natural caffeine, theanine, and B vitamins to sustain the mental endurance necessary to maintain your focus. Their calm and clarity formula is expertly developed with GABA, vitamin D3, and L-theanine to optimize composure and clarity of mind. Their health and vitality formula is specially infused with life-enhancing, immune-boosting vitamins to help strengthen and support your body. What makes Neuro different? Neuro's gone through dozens of formulations, process, and tests to ensure that each gum and mint they make delivers on their promise of getting you in the right state at the right time. Unlike other heat-extruded gum and mints, Neuro's products are created using cold compression technology, which maintains each ingredient's bioavailability. Neuro is a clean boost of energy without the jitters of coffee or an energy drink. With so many challenges and demands, it can be really hard to stay focused, and Neuro does a great job of keeping you calm, cool, and collected. Stress, fatigue, lack of focus can all impact decision-making abilities. Recently, I had been feeling sluggish and have been distracted with everything going on in my life. These Neuro mints, however, have allowed me to stay on task and have stayed calm, cool, collected, as well as alert, and I've been able to change my approach and focus on the task at hand. Go to my sponsor link now down below, tryneurogum.com/JKB to enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it. You ever get those ridiculous social media scams where people pretend to be somebody you're friends with and tell you you can make a lot of money? I know I do. It's why I'm very excited to partner with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an easy-to-use app that essentially packages a bunch of services to stay safe online all in one. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers. They scan the web for all sorts of data leaks and alert you as soon as they find anything. Aura is like the offensive line for a quarterback, consistently offering you protection from suspicious and malicious activity. They have a VPN built in that keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. They'll even alert you if someone's trying to open up a credit card or a loan in your name. Did I mention they protect all your devices from viruses, malware, spyware, and any other things so the bad guys can't break in? Aura can even manage what your kids do on their devices. You can set limits and restrict them from specific apps. They have a password manager as well, so you don't have to rely on an outdated Rolodex or that sticky note that's been on your desk forever. There are apps that do all of these things, but there isn't one that tackles everything the way Aura does, which is why I say Aura is a 5-man offensive line and you're the quarterback. So head on over to aura.com/JKB. You can find it in the description and start your free trial today. Here's something you could do right now just to save some money. Switch to Mint Mobile. I'm partnering with them for today's video. You might already know Mint Mobile if you've seen those funny ads from Ryan Reynolds, who is an owner. But let me tell you quickly how awesome this service is. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 per month. And you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep the cost low because they sell directly to you online. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? I've had a great experience using Mint Mobile, and the thing that I love the most is that unlimited plan. It got me out of a bind on a 23-hour drive down to Florida. I was able to use it, and it was super fast, and I highly recommend it. Lucky for you, switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their digital eSIM cards, you can sign up and activate immediately right from your phone from the comfort of your own home. They cut out the retail stores and salespeople. No more standing and waiting around at a big wireless store. You can keep your current device and phone number and easily switch services. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will ship you a new SIM card free of charge. My experience using the eSIM card was relatively simple. I just went into the cellular data and I went to secondary and I put in the eSIM card. It was that easy. All Mint Mobile plans do include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. Mint will show you how much data you use each month and recommend plans that save you money. Mint also offers a modern family plan that sets you up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. Use my link in the description to get premium wireless starting as $15 a month at mintmobile.com/JKB. Stop paying more than you need to on your wireless bill and start saving big with Mint Mobile.